What happened there?
Okay, we just do it again.
Oh, everybody, we sort of went off air.
Yeah, we did. Just do it again, Karen.
Yeah, I've got a
notification.
Yeah.
cool.
Hey, okay, start it again. Hey, everybody, this is the Sun and Moon group with Karen and all the other participants, and Karen will name them now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an echo there, by the way, guys.
Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
An echo, and it's not Maria.
Oh, it's
astral. It's astral. Anyway, let's start again. I don't know what happened there. It said it was going live. Anyway, so 8th of the 10th, 2017, Sun and Moon group. We're waiting for Angel. I'm not sure where he is, usually here on time. So far on the panel, we have Artis from Germany. He's the one with the picture of the circle. Hi, Artis.
Hey, Karen.
And then we have Maria from America.
Hello, from Washington State.
We have Ceres from Holland.
Hi there.
Bonjour.
We have Yudit from Israel.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
We have Astral from Denmark, but he's English, but he lives in Denmark. Hello, Astral.
Hello.
Astral, when you're not speaking, can you mute your mic because you're making an echo? Then we have wizlawz from America. With the
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
Chris. And then we have Patricia from the UK.
Hello.
Hey. Anyway, good evening to everybody on the panel so far. How is everybody? You're muted.
Everybody's good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's a beautiful Sunday.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful.
We thought we'd start off with a discussion.
Hey, she dropped off.
And then Artis is going to give the information later on.
Yeah, someone dropped off.
It's off.
Wizlawz left.
Yeah, Maria will be back.
Maria's back again.
Hey, what happened there, Maria? You disappeared.
I know. Said I left the call. I did.
Can I just say, Astral, while you're not talking, can you please mute because you're making an echo, my darling? Yeah, I just thought we'd have a discussion to start with and a chit chat. And Maria always has information. Go on, Maria. You were going to tell us about some NASA stuff.
I woke up this morning and I was about to go to the news, but I haven't gone to the news. I said I'm sure there's NASA news, but I haven't checked yet. So I don't know the NASA news this morning, but I know that this week, just little things I noticed that NASA's sex band, they have a sex band going, and they're thinking of pulling in astronauts that are really old, so they're not as frisky. Because the scientists, in their studies at NASA discovered that, sex in outer space may not be a good idea. So, they're thinking about having a sex ban. And that article was on Drudge, and he had linked right under it. The headline right under it was, like a news article, was clown sightings, clowns in the dark scaring people. Like that was the headline underneath the news headline for NASA. So something, I don't know, because that's how he communicates,
How weird's that? Yeah, because you're looking for the connection. You see the connections because they're putting all these things together.
Yeah, NASA unveiled their new astronaut suit. That was maybe a week and a half ago. Their new, astronaut suit. It looks like a motorcycle helmet. It's all white. And Yeah, but most of the people have been focusing on Las Vegas, and you know, a lot of people say there was nobody shot because they say that nobody's going to say anything because just the thought of someone losing their life or being hurt is too guilty, so no one would even think of that option, you know. And they say that families are very risky because they like to ask questions, so that's why they never want real people shot, especially Americans. So who knows? Some people say most people say it was a total. Am I on? Okay.
Hello?
Some people
Yes,
say it was a total. Yeah, it was that nobody was shot. That's what Steve Pachenik said. He came on Alex Jones to say it, and his call was dropped by Skype, and he couldn't call back. And I remember later on David Knight's show called The War Room, he went on and he says he was hacked. He's calling from a neighbor's phone, and he says that he doesn't think anyone was shot. He thinks it's a Sandy Hook phenomena, but nobody would ever suggest such a thing for the horror of maybe someone did lose their life, that guilt would be so great that they would never even consider that option.
Oh. So what do you think then, being an American? What do you think?
What do I think? Well, as you know, a political cartoonist, I have a bias. You know, I do. I have a bias. So, you know, it's like I believe Steve Pachenik. I don't think anyone shot, but just the thought of someone maybe shot. I'm not sure. You know, but how do we know? We don't know. We weren't there. You know, we just weren't there. You know, you can't trust on faith what you see on videos. They could be actors. They could be really good actors. You know, it could be like, you know. But there's just clues everywhere. There's clues everywhere. And, you know, some people want to point fingers, you know, and a lot of people are using this politically, but in the end, we really want the truth. And I think there was multiple shooters, if there were shooters, because there's just the sound is all different. And if he's shooting all these people, there should be piles and piles and piles of ammunition around him, right? Piles of it. There wasn't. There was just a few bullet, you know, casings, and there was like, it was, and those are bulletproof windows. Bulletproof windows.
It doesn't sound real. The gunshots don't sound real when they're showing you.
Yeah. And you know, most people, and I'm just thinking flatties. I've researched high and low, and they all seem to think that this, especially like, you know, on Facebook and stuff, they're all thinking that this is all a big psyop. It's all theater. It's all performance. And I'm thinking flatties can see that because we don't believe the fantastical. We don't believe huge things on faith. We go with the simple answers because the simple answers, you know, it seems to work easier, right? You know, it makes more sense. What do
Americans think then? Do they think like you, or you just think it's flat Earth people that think like you?
Well, I haven't ever paid for cable TV in my life, so I'm sure there's people around that are terrified, that are having nightmares, the same way we had nightmares during 9/11. Do you remember that? And the nightmares, the fear, seeing the devil, you know, I mean, like, you know, so people are going through that now. Sad, you know, whether it's true or not.
Very quickly, just changing the subject, but we'll come back to this. I did say that I watched one of these NASA things and they take their passport with them.
And they always have twins. They always have twins. And they're creepy twins.
Mm.
And they're going to the moon and they're blowing up the moon. Remember that? They like to go to the moon and blow it up. I remember that. I was so scared. I thought we were going to die.
Yeah.
I saw an article the other day about NASA, how during the solar eclipse, they were wondering, will it hurt your cell phone if you point the cell phone to the solar eclipse? Will it hurt your cell phone? And let's ask NASA. And they had a NASA scientist. Well, it shouldn't hurt. Sure. And there's a whole article about it. Because they don't want you to look at they don't want you to look at the, you know, a big headline. Is it safe to point your phone at the sun? You know, so people are just going to see that headline and they're going to say, oh, I don't think it's safe. So they're not going to take a picture of it, because if they took a picture of it, they'd see there's no moon.
But the thing
Anywhere to be
was, that
found.
didn't Donald Trump look at the eclipse without glasses on?
He did. He took it off, and everybody went crazy. They said he is an idiot. They called him. You're not supposed to do that. He's an idiot. But I saw that as an act of rebellion. I saw it as an act of rebellion when he called the globalists globalists. He pronounced it globalist. Just the last rally he had, globalists. You know, and he's a very brave man. I'm telling you, he's a brave man. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him, Putin. I don't know who else. All the Brexit people, right? I mean, if you could put, you have to attach flat Earth to a political, or flat Earth can be its own political party. You know what I mean? You have to like look at it that way, because we're a force to be reckoned with in politics, in government. And all the scientists, the flat earthers, are a force to be reckoned with. We're a party of our own, you know. So sure, flat earthers should get into politics.
The only thing with that is, though, we're joining the system that's already here.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know if you've heard of Aaron's Lumen project. It's all about doing something different and sort of basically peacefully turning your back on the world and actually sorting out another system.
But I would like flat earthers to make laws for me. I would like flat earthers to, you know, I would trust them more. My voice in, you know what I mean. As far as how I look at different things, I would trust flat earthers ruling over us than the people now, you know?
I'll just say that an Angel has joined the Hangout. Hello, Angel.
Hi, Angel.
Good morning, afternoon, or evenings.
Hey.
What we decided to do today was to have a chit chat to start with, and then Artis has got some stuff which he wants to show everybody that he's been researching. And so far, if I just explain to you, we've got Artis, you know, Ceres, you know, Patricia, you know, there's Astral, he's English, but he's living in Denmark, and then we've got Yudit from Israel. And Maria was just talking about the shooting in America. Yeah, so obviously you're an American. What do you think about the shootings?
Well, I'm sure I'd wind up disturbing a bunch of people. I think I haven't seen any bullet holes. I haven't seen anybody coming out and saying, hey, I was shot, but I survived. I've seen lots of people that heard stuff. And I know that the story is very, very fabricated. That there's gentlemen like Steve Pachenik, I don't know if you're familiar with these people, that are quite adamant that it is.
Talking about him before you showed up, I said he was hacked when he was he went on InfoWars talking about this. He had to go on a later show.
Yeah, I think that he is very right on when he says the story is very fabricated. And I think it is. I think it's like a Sandy Hook, you know, no one died at Sandy Hook type scenario, where they were doing a FEMA drill, which there were Craigslist ads. In fact, I heard about the Craigslist ads prior to it, so I kind of was looking for something, and it happened. And this is kind of one of those, we're going to put it up like Hearst said, give me the pictures and I'll give you a war. You know, it's so fake that I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been really following with the whole bump stock thing. They didn't even mention bump stock, which is where you take the trigger and you have a little thing that sits there and goes bump, 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 bump. And then they have another one where it sits against your shoulder. Actually, that's the bump stock. Then they have another one, which is a rotisserie thing. But either one, they said InfoWars mentioned one of them, and then the next day in the news, the FBI said, oh, he may have even had these. Oh, they found 12 of them. Well, they found 12 of something, and then they come and say it's the shoulder one after that, because really it's the shoulder one they want to push into the narrative so that we can vote against it, because it's part of the weapon, where the other one is something you snap on. So their goal is to take where really some of these weapons, It is just the firing mechanism is all that's regulated. The barrel, the handle, the sight, everything else is an accessory to the device. And really, our federal government has no say over anything other than the firing mechanism. And they're trying to expand their authority for our safety. Too bad there weren't kids at the thing, because then it would be for the kids' safety. Oh, think of all those innocent kids. But, you know.
Manchester.
Yeah. So that's my opinion. But
you want to say something?
I agree.
Yes. If you look over the money, American money, it will tell you everything. The past, what's happened now, and what is going to happen. And what I see, many videos from many different people who speak about the day of tomorrow, you know, about the tsunami, about the Korea torpedo. And I don't know, there is a connection between the money and what's happened. And what they said, New York gonna get tsunami, a big tsunami. And you see this in the money. If you look, you can see many stuff there. So yeah, I don't know.
Yudit
Like follow
does
the
not
money.
like NASA.
And
She doesn't like NASA at all, do you, Yudit? Yudit is a very anti-NASA person.
Oh yeah, because
Satan.
they must be in prison. That's all. And
Oh yeah, prison, worse, banished.
Yeah. Yes,
Let's put them all on a rocket.
You know, Hollywood make now.
Seal it up on undergrounds.
Yeah, Hollywood make a movie now with the cloud, and this cloud. Many children watch this movie, and they acting like a cloud is that makes people scared. They attack people as a cloud, you know, like a funny clown, but they make people scared. They attack people. So it's a Hollywood movie right now. And
Yes, and on Drudge Report, they were linked together, the news stories with NASA, and then the dark clowns are scaring people everywhere. The two, they were.
That's right.
And on top of that was rain falling from the sky, some article, and NASA was sandwiched in between those two. And that means something if you know, if you read Drudge Report, because that's how he talks.
Yeah, so they do things for real and under the ground when we are looking upstairs. So many things happen downstairs. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does anybody else on the panel think about
That shooting.
America?
Yeah, it was funny that Patricia on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, I got it from Patricia. Did a show, extra show, I think yesterday, and actually in that Illuminati card game you can get from the 90s, it's actually saying Las Vegas.
I've been following it since the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in a Jack and an Ace, and if you
That's amazing.
that guy that did the shooting, he has a tattooation on his arm, and it's actually the same. This is actually the guy's tattooation on his arm, and it's the same. It's a J and an Ace, Jack and an Ace, and if you look at the card game, it's the same in Jack and an Ace.
That's spooky.
And also you can see
The Satanists, the globalists.
So this is I think a card game from the 90s.
Pedophiles.
And it has, what was surprising for me, was those cards that he had them tattooed on his arm, and it's how is that black thing called? It's you have a heart and you have an hexagonal shape, but he got the same one, even with that dark symbol on them. I don't know how it's pronounced in English. It's a schoppen in Dutch. So that's he also could have cards on his arm with a heart on them.
Yes, that's how they speak to each other. That's how they
but-
speak to each other in codes and math.
Yeah.
You think they're math geniuses? They think they're really...
Astral, can you, if you're not going to speak, can you mute yourself? Because you're making
Oh,
it,
sorry,
you're making an echo.
I was about to
And
answer that.
yeah,
No,
so
but it's-
for me
Okay,
was
Dan.
He's got it. No, he's got it anyway. It's a jack.
so for me it was surprising that it was so much the same, that tattooation on his arm and that Illuminati card. I was very surprised by that.
Asking wizlawz, because he's in America. What do you think then? The shootings.
Well, you know, I don't watch TV. I only hear what goes on YouTube. I have no clue. You know, all I'd be able to do is parrot everything else I've heard, and I wouldn't have an understanding of it. So my point of view would be invalid in that sense.
What does your wife say anything, or do you just don't talk about that?
No, everything on TV is true. That's where she's at.
Right. That's really sad, isn't it? I have my in-laws, ex-in-laws. They're like that. They believe all the news.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's I see it once a fortnight when I go to their house. I go and see them, and they the news is on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing is, though, she doesn't like space movies.
Yeah. So I just asked Patricia, what do you think, Patricia?
Yeah, sorry. Well, it's one of those things. Hang on a sec. One of those things you can either believe either, and it's an individual thing you have to work out. I think it's terrible that if the government are doing that, or whoever's in control, I just think it's so wrong. You know, we have it over here, but excuse me, it's not as bad. It's just unbelievable that they would want to do that for, you know, ulterior motive. So we need to take them down. We need to sort them out. Tell them enough's enough.
I think we should all be aware of what cards they still have yet to play.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
Angel.
I think there's in Frankfurt, Germany. There's a card, so that's one that I know.
I really like the one with Bill and Hillary where she's got him like tied with the strap.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the big one will be November 4th, and Antifa is coming out, and they say they're going to kill, you know, Trump supporters, stuff like that. And so that's going to be the next big event. Oh, and Deface Columbus Day is tomorrow. Don't forget, Deface Columbus Day. And there is a Columbus Day, a Columbus statue of holding the globe in Vancouver, but I'm not going to go protect it or anything. But everywhere they're calling for everyone, and if you look online, they're already defacing. Cops have to stand by Christopher Columbus statues. And I know you're like, yeah, happy globalism, you know, but you know, these are vandals. You know what I mean? And they're hurting people, and they're going to prison, and it's a really bad thing. And it's like a little army, like a little demonic troll army or something. Anyway, I did a cartoon. I called them Pontifa, and the guy and they're all dressed in black, but the guy's got pink underwear on his face. So
First they came for the
Pontifa.
First they
Angel,
came for the
Angel.
globes, but I didn't defend them because I wasn't a glober. Then they came for the flat earthers, and no one was there to defend me.
Maria, you haven't met Angel before. Just tell Angel what you do.
Hi, I'm a political cartoonist. I became a flat earther, and then I decided I was going to become a political cartoonist. And then I'll put in a flat earth cartoon, and I really want to work my way into people, all the important people that I like, and I want to bring you know, flat earth to all of them, you know, really in a stealthy way, because once I tried a direct approach and I got mocked and made fun of. So, I think to spread flat Earth is to just bring the proofs, bring pictures, to news people. I like, I'm always commenting on. I follow every single news and they put on NASA, you know what I mean? But I don't attract attention. I'm not like a full-time flat earther, but I do it stealthily.
Well, if you or in your cartoons, you always stick a flat Earth reference, but don't shove it in their face. Kind of the same way they always put a globe in movies. And
I do all the time.
that'll work.
Flat Earth is in the main news, like in the big news, not when it's mocking or making fun, but like when the Pope came out and said all climate change believers are flat earthers. I did a cartoon of that. When it's when Alex Jones had on Eddie Bravo, I did a political cartoon on that.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. Eddie Bravo was doing a body slam to a globe Earth, and Donald Trump was watching, and Alex Jones says, the people aren't ready for this. We have to delete this. And then Donald Trump was going, well, I do like a good fight. Let's see. Because he does. He likes a good fight. Donald Trump likes a good fight, and he will definitely like the flat Earth fight because
Alex isn't ready for a flat Earth.
We're tough. Not ready.
Yeah, Alex isn't ready.
Maybe he's ready, but InfoWars isn't.
I'm not sure Alex is either. The way he speaks, I don't think
he said it the other day. He said it yesterday. Yesterday, hour 1, minute 5 at the
really
25 mark. He mentioned flat Earth. I think it was the day before. He says, he says, people are saying I said there was no shooter. I didn't say that. People are saying I believe the Earth is flat. I'm not saying that. People are saying that, but that's his way of talking about it. That's his way, I followed him since like 2003. And I remember when he retracted Pizzagate, but I know why he did it. He's
that was a tar bait.
He's not 100% about the truth. He's more of a strategist.
That was
he's not 100% about the truth.
It was a setup tar baby that they set up, like, look over here, look over here, look over here. Look, we can just prove this. Look over here. That was kind of like the magic bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take the time to
Alex is worried about Trump, but you know what, Alex Jones, if you're out there, the one thing that will get rid of the globalists for your boy Donald Trump is flat Earth, because it will flatten the globalists. It will flatten all of them. It will flatten the deep state, the CIA. It will flatten them.
NASA's
and
budget.
And isn't that what you want? But no, Alex is afraid of ridicule and being outcast as, but Alex, you really, really need to push those proofs forward. And maybe he's planning something. Who knows? But he mentions it a lot.
You might wonder what the program actually is. We don't know what they are coming planning.
I'm still trying to find somebody.
Maybe we need to bring out our numbers. We need to bring up our numbers. The flatties need to bring out their numbers. We need to come out in droves. We need to push this to make it seen, because these people, they only deal in numbers and populations, and we got to have a
trying to do is get somebody in Vegas to actually go to one of the really big gambling casinos and put the odds down on Jaren's curvature test. Because then they'll have to have somebody that represents the gambling board there to verify the results. And what better could you ask for? Plus, it'll put it on the boards. And I think if they do it in enough time, it might, people, at least it'll put it on the boards, possibly. That supposedly they'll take anything. It's a legal gamble, isn't it? I mean, it's not like you're saying, hey, how many people can we lynch this weekend or something like that. So, but
do you think Steve Pieczenik is a flatty?
I don't know. I'll listen more. I wasn't 6 months ago. I wasn't even really on the flat thing. It wasn't until I tried to calculate something over more than a mile stretch, and somebody verbally tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You sure about that curve?" And I said, "Well, why wouldn't I be?" And then he showed me half a dozen things, and I said, "Well, I'm not so sure about that curve anymore." So that's where I was. But so I haven't really been paying attention to who is and who isn't based on their vocabulary, but I'm more open, you know, when I hear certain things, you know, especially since people who are believing in the globe don't even know about the 8 inches per mile squared. That's kind of like just that on a t-shirt itself, 8 inches per mile squared all by itself would kind of be like that. Well, that's the hypothetical curvature. Oh, really? Yeah.
And Maria's subject is cartoons and NASA. Yours, it's 9/11, isn't it?
I do focus on 9/11. I really do. That was my awakening. Was really, again, it was an Alex Jones derivative. It was Jason Burmis did Loose Change. And it was Loose Change. I saw a video, which I had seen the exact same video 10, 15 times before, but I had seen it on broadcast TV. And what they show is Tower 1 falling, Tower 2 falling, and they put Tower 7 next to, I think it's the Sands of the Sahara, or one of the ones in Vegas, and they go, and they say, see, look, it doesn't look anything like controlled demolition. And I was always mentally putting 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4. It wasn't until I saw the video from Jason Burmis where they actually show the real video with him talking. And he says, by the way, this is building 7 that also fell on this day compared to a building that we know is controlled demolition. And that just...
think there was supposed to be a third plane?
I don't, again, kind of, I'm on the, I don't think other than the one that was shot down in Pennsylvania, there was any plane.
Okay. Yeah, maybe something was a malfunction, like a video malfunction, because evil, they're really sloppy and they're not smart.
I think knowing what I know about computers now and knowing the strength of computers they had back then and green screening, blue screening, and all that other stuff, you know, the whole Pinocchio's nose where it goes through the building and comes out the other end.
No way.
I believe it was a mask, and I believe it was generated, especially since there were 2 or 3 stations that were local stations that didn't show any planes and show the building and the explosion without any planes being in the video, because they were actually
Yeah, and what about the gold? What happened to the gold in the building?
That was on the 24-wheeler underneath that was abandoned because it was coming down quicker than they could get out. You know, it would take more than an hour to load that truck. I've been involved in loading trucks. So there was premonition of the whole thing. I mean, it's black
all that
and white
gold.
pre-knowledge.
Where's building 7?
Dollars in gold.
Where's
100 billion gold bars. Right.
Yeah,
100 billion in gold bars.
Oh, where did they eventually go? I don't know where they eventually went. It's easy to hide things like that. It's when
it melted.
Destruction, they can hide things easily. So
it went up it almost went up in smoke, and then the rest of it was demolished.
Yeah, the gold was
disintegrated.
It turned into white powder. I heard they could do that with alchemy.
It melted.
Someone else join the hangout.
Monoatomic gold.
Angel.
It weighs less.
I got that once from David Wolf, and I ate it, and I was like, something gonna happen, something gonna happen. I thought I felt something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like taking colloidal silver water. It's not bad for you. It's just kind of anti-aerobic. Anti-aerobic. So, but it's expensive though. You know, so it's
very $50 for a little thing.
So you don't want to like douse it on, you want to treat it like you do good vanilla or something, tiny bits of it. It's supposedly.
Hey guys, while you're talking about politics, I thought we'd chip in there. I followed the Brexit and Trump phenomena through. I actually came to Flat Earth following politics, would you believe? It was politics that led to Flat Earth. But no, I followed the Brexit campaign and the Trump campaign. I followed them through, and Trump is definitely not a globalist. I don't know what people think of him personally, But
He's definitely not a globalist.
No,
He's definitely not a globalist.
His policy is definitely
Me and
damaging.
we should be friends because not a lot of flat earthers think that, you know.
Yeah, but it's just politics. You know, politics can be a can of worms.
I know. I followed him since I was a little girl. I read Art of the Deal when I was 14. I seen every episode of Celebrity Apprentice. I followed him. I forced THC to watch him for years. Every Thursday night, it was welcome to the boardroom. You know, because it was competition using skills and like, you know, it was just amazing, like how to be smarter, how to be better, and using the least money. And those are the skills I wanted to learn. And that's, you know, he's just a genius at what he does. And he spent the least in this election and he won, and everyone spent millions and they lost. And I mean, he's just so brilliant, you know, and so I know his character. I can vouch for him in the flat world. Okay.
You know, I studied his policies and everything, and they really do damage the globalist plans. I don't know if you're aware, but the politics of the States is a mirror of the EU's politics in Europe. It's an exact mirror of how it's working. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. So what's happening in Europe is supposed to happen in the States. Now, for the globalists to win...
With the Amero, we're supposed to have an Amero.
This is where we're at now, listen.
But we didn't.
For the globalists to win, they have to bring down the West, and then they take control. And
all I wonder is if
they're trying their hardest to bring down the West.
Out of the circle into the spiritual square, because that is the actual reality. Most of it will get stuck in the circle. If they get stuck there, then they're not into the spiritual level. And that's where the square begins. That's how I see the controlled opposition. They all are there to keep you on the circle and not to not know the realization.
The United Nations,
reality. It's, I'm not sure. Let's see how they react to the not circle.
Yes.
Obama made fun of Trump. Obama made fun of Trump. Look over there. Well, they're doing something behind you. Look over here, and they're doing something else.
So
and you know what? They call Donald Trump the golden one. They call him the golden one, and maybe he's going to find our gold. You know.
Whether you realise it or not, people, Brexit and Trump are revolutions against the globalists and their policies. This is what it's all about. And
Italy too. Italy's on board.
Well, Europe's going to collapse if they carry on doing what they're doing to it. They're destroying from within. This is how the globalists operate. They destroy from within.
FPV, we should be friends. I do political cartoons, and I love the globalists like Angela Merkel, and I always doing cartoons about her and Obama, Hillary, and maybe you would like them because I am a flatty since the Morgiles Art Bell, so maybe we have something in common. We should be friends.
I used to follow, the politics, but I put that aside. Politics and religion, you have to put aside in Flat Earth. Flat Earth will reveal all the truths.
Or you can have the edge over everyone else because you can see through the lies, you can see through the bullshit, and you can know exactly the agenda, and it can help you. Being a flat earther in places that flat earthers don't go because you're aware to the evil of this world. You're aware, and the Americans are the innocents of the world that don't know, that live in La La Land cable TV. They're innocent, because they don't know. But it's up to us to educate people and tell them who, because they don't believe it. They can't believe it.
Re-educating everyone.
Yeah, and saying there's an option, there's a choice. You have the flat Earth model, and you have the globe model, and they're pick which is this seems to be the easiest, and this has all the more proofs. And this, you have NASA, you have Hollywood, you have your school teacher, you have your mom and dad, their years, their ancestors, or you can believe them. People, it's very, it's a choice you got to make.
Yes, well, we've got people, like I said, Aaron, who he's doing the Lumen. That's about turning your back on the system we've got. And he's obviously started to, get that up and running. And he's coming on Hangouts with us and doing his own thing. And
but you guys, aren't you guys scared of of like you loom and you break off into another, you know, but you know what, you still don't have the numbers, you don't have the weapons, you don't have the money, you know, to protect yourselves, because they're going to come after your groups, you know, and you know, you need a little more power, you know, and I think, you know, we've got to infiltrate, hire a flatty, fire a globey, you know what I'm saying? Like we really got to get into these systems, because they're going to work against us. And then you can also have, you know, you either fight it, change it from within, or like you say loom, but you know, you're going to need protection. You're going to need, because these people have all a NASA money, and that's billion.
Astral, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think there's any fear of that, what you're saying, Maria, because the truth eventually will prevail. And this
Astral, we can't hear you.
What's wrong with this? Can you hear me now?
The microphone.
Very quiet.
It's just I don't know where the microphone is on this.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't think there's any. Can you hear me?
It's under your left sock.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Very, very low.
Yeah, I don't know why. There's something obviously wrong with my settings, apparently. But I don't think there's any fear of that, what you said, Maria, because this group is doing the research, and we're getting, you know, results, and the truth, as I see it, will prevail. You know, when people hear, well, this is how it is, really, there ain't no doubts about this, you know, then it's like, well, obviously they can't deny it, you know, when there's enough people. Can't hear you, Maria, you're muted.
If it's about the fear, then only the one is the one thing we only have to fear.
Persecution, you know.
Yes.
I feel it's coming, you know. We got to protect ourselves. We got to be everywhere. We got to be everywhere.
Yeah, we are quite persecuted, I think.
Yeah.
As long
I mean, they can just shut all their YouTubes down. You know, they can do that. The secret is so big that they can't attract attention. They can't even risk it.
Like
They
the
can't even risk
idea of a political party. Wow, that would really wake them up.
Yeah, with the Flat Earthers, we're a political party, and we voted on rulers and like who could speak for us and could go in there and fucking tell everyone, we got news for you. I mean, that would be perfect, you know.
That won't work.
Because
it doesn't matter who we put as CEO in the corporation. The shareholders decide policy anyway. And that's where we.
Well, we got to get our shareholders in there. Then we got to get our shareholders in there. You know?
It's never our voice actually speaking.
We got to convert them.
The shareholders who decide everything, and there we need to actually stop it whole by no longer actually supporting the whole corporation to begin with.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a failed game, and it is always been a game, and not for us to win, but to fool us into a sense of thinking we have a voice. But it doesn't work that way. We don't know what the game is we are caught in.
Yeah, plus what you hijacked doesn't make you what you hijacked. You know, it could make what you hijacked even better.
Yeah, we are hijacked. Our personal perception is hijacked.
Yeah, well, we can hijack too. We can, and you know what? The might is right? The strongest will survive, I guess.
I think the wise will conquer.
Yeah, the meek shall inherit. Yeah, that too, because we win the battle without fighting through logic and you know, through our proofs that we're going to bring.
Fight.
Yeah.
But that's the last thing to do.
Logic, reason, and strategy.
I would suggest keep tweeting the proofs to Trump. Keep sending him the proofs.
I do. The other day, I did As in Space. They sent a "fuck you, Donald Trump" tweet because they sent up a fisheye lens, and they say, "See, here's the curvature of Earth. Fuck you, Donald Trump." But they forgot when they were on Earth that they were still filming, and someone got a footage of that. So I tweeted that to him and Matt Drudge, and I said, "Look, Matt, look real close." And you know, that's how I operate. I don't say, "Oh, hashtag flat Earth, oh, flat Earth." You know, it's always like, you know, hey, take a look at this, you know. Isn't
Yeah,
this
'cause
strange, you know?
most of the world, you know, the world's being destroyed around us, and most of them don't even know why. You can show them flat Earth, it'll wake them up to what's really going on.
Oh yeah.
I really like showing people the one NASA video where they got the guy on the wire behind them, because that's like, how can you ever get that out of your mind?
Yeah, you're right.
They're supposedly in space. Why would there be a guy on a wire right behind?
Bubbles in space. What about the flimsy lid? The flimsy
Astral,
lid.
Astral,
That's the
Astral.
best.
Flimsy lid.
Astral, mute yourself when
kind
you're
of
not
is spin.
talking.
But the guy on a wire is just, you know, how can you not? Bubbles, you can pass that off somehow mentally, but the guy on a wire, just, you can't ever get that. You can't dismiss that. Bubbles, you can dismiss. Flimsy lid, oh, well, maybe it's made of some super Teflon.
They juggle too, right?
NASA stuff.
And also what at the ISS, what I saw was that one guy had that baseball cap and he was tried to hand it to the other guy, and he was already grabbing it before he was pressing it down and putting it aside. But he was actually grabbing nothing and putting nothing aside because he was too early in his movements.
Yeah,
and you could clearly see he was watching a monitor. He doesn't look at the baseball cap. He's looking straight ahead, like there is something in front of him that he can actually see what he's supposed to do. But there was some sort of glitch, and he grabbed nothing.
There are two different Worlds of Warcraft players, and one of them took the axe and handed it to the other guy, but he grabbed it before he handed it to him. Yep. It's just, that's computer animation.
Computer generated.
Computer generated.
I've done one like that where they've got M&Ms up and they're going to grab them. It wasn't mine. It was called. She's called Bling Bling, and she's done one about asparagus. And it was amazing because what she did was she kept saying, "There's a pair of scissors. Watch the scissors." And basically, every time they cut, the scissors are, you know, in a different place. That's it. Cut, and the scissors are turning round. And yeah, so I think she counted 14 cuts. And then when she cut hair, they've cut it again so that when it cuts, she's in a completely different place. And what she reckons is that
the flashes are another good one to show people, but again, mentally, you can take the flashes and say, oh, they just shot different shots and cut them together because maybe, you know, her boob popped out once or something, you know, like something. But the guy on a wire, you can't ever get that out of your mind. It's just it's not floating if there's a guy on a wire behind you.
Yeah. Right.
You know, but the flashes are quite evident once you see it.
And the owl teddy bears that Russia now takes into space. Oh yeah. That's a little creepy. That's a little molesty.
Well, they take their passports, so they're going on holiday.
If you actually sat there and accounted for all the extra stuff that they brought up, and it was pointed out very well about the whole football. If for them to have known what football jerseys to bring up and when they had their last refill thing, they would have had to bring like 60 some different jerseys up there. I don't think there are that many teams. But each one.
And isn't there a delay in talking to them? There's a delay, like it's like a 8-second delay, and then sometimes they just screw up and answer right away.
Yeah, that's the old school. Now they're almost real time. You know, because they kept messing up on the. Well, I don't know. I don't watch it really, but you see sometimes you answer real time. That's because they mess up on the. Oh yeah, we're supposed to have a delay. Like even on Skype sometimes I have a delay. Well, I can talk to my mom and like I'll be answering a question she asked 10 seconds ago, and we step on each other. But so I know what happens with the delay, and you can see those guys in NASA. Sometimes they're in the next room. So it's but
that would be actually funny if some backdrop fall back and you could see the whole camera crew of the next room behind it or something.
One of them says, and the other one says "bless you" real quick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bless you. I mean, Bless you. Yeah, yeah. So that, and it's, once somebody's opened to it, and once you're looking for it, when they have them on the blue screen with the grid, and
you
can
see it everywhere.
Right, but you have to be ready to be looking for it. Before that, like the bubbles,
and you'll see it, or the hover rocket. You
can mentally dismiss the bubbles because you still think they're in space. You can mentally dismiss the flappy door because they're using super space.
It could be a floppy door.
Huh? Yeah.
It could be maybe the air suction is inside. Maybe all that stuff's inside. Maybe that's just, you know, to get in the main.
The cognitive dissonance can mentally justify a reason for some of those anomalies. How can you justify mentally a guy on a wire?
Yeah, Angel, I've done 2 videos. I've used the same footage. It's about paused astronauts. There's 2 astronauts outside. They're paused.
Yeah, yeah, you did that like middle of the week, I saw, right?
Yeah, that was great.
Tonight, a week ago Saturday.
I had never.
What I did was, I'd already put those videos out. Just that means they're not there.
Or it's video from, it's a backdrop. Yeah, it's, you know, we need something here while we're focusing on that guy. Nowadays, if they had to record it, they could have two different people, but and they could do them on different layers. But you know, they're lazy.
That means they filmed it twice and stuck them together.
Yep.
Yeah. One of them was a backdrop for the one that was being used.
He's stuck. He's stuck.
There was an astronaut in it.
He sneezed and he was like holding on.
I mean, according to man's law or American law, NASA are definitely criminals. They're definitely criminals.
Yes, they are.
They fit every. I mean, we're talking gangster, mafia, the worst of the worst, the lowest of the lowest, the scummiest of the scummiest, the perviest of the pervious.
It is in the flag, so it is legal.
And they've killed people to keep their silence, and they've.
But according to our laws.
Huh?
According to our laws about being deceived, you know, in courts, like if I was to make a contract with you and, you know, you gave me the wrong information, you know, I would have, you know, a right to, you know, whatever I am seeking, you know. So why can't we do that with NASA according to our own laws, you know?
That's the trick here. There are 2 different law sets, one for the land, individually for every country, but also one for the sea. And that one is the corporate law,
yes,
where everything is talked about legalities and not about lawfulness. That's the whole thing here. We think we can get them in a law case based on the land laws, but they actually are functioning on the law of water, the sea law.
But I know, but like, it's just how do you change that? How do you make them accountable? That's like the United Nations. It's like the world leaders. They're all unaccountable. You can't punish them because they belong to outside every country. Well, but just because they say so doesn't make it so. Just because they make it a law doesn't mean it's so. They need our permission, and it's always been that way.
Way wider than this.
You know, they need our permission first, and they've gotten away with it. And judgment's coming. And if judgment doesn't come to them, it's going to come to their kids. I mean, it's inevitable.
We don't actually give our consent by silence, because we are not really protesting this.
I don't give my consent. I don't give my consent, and I don't think that they should make up their own rules. And why can't everybody be exempt from rules? Why can't all Americans be protected just like they are? I mean, why not? You know, Jesus. I mean, like, why do they get special treatment? You know,
it's more like we don't even know what the rules are, and that's how they get us. Because we can actually not react to their actions because we don't know what the procedure is for that.
NASA
part.
Contract.
But these are all these laws we have to learn for ourselves to actually take these particular steps, so they are actually getting no foundation any longer.
NASA's
That's the whole trickery.
We need flat Earth lawyers out there. Flat Earth lawyers. We need you guys.
But you have to look at what their contract.
I think it's treason. I think it's treason, and I just think so many countries are in on this, and it's all treason, the whole thing, because they're the ones that carry on the fact that we're a globe.
Yeah. And if we have a political party, we can fight for our courts. We can fight for flat Earth courts. You know, we can fight for rights for us. You know.
Listen, even if you made a political party as a joke, you put your policies as you will scrap all space programs and things like that. You know, you would wake them up. They'd say, "What the hell is going on?"
We would have a whole plan. We would have our plan. You know, whatever it is. Everybody lives how they want to. You know.
In a sense,
limited.
We're right. A good thing right now. Actually, no longer supporting this corporate death. I mean, that's all their policy is.
I attack them.
Workers doing it for them, and as long as we keep doing it, their policy, their policy. Yeah. And that's the whole thing here. It's all us who are doing it. We don't even realize we're doing it because we don't know what the game is. And that's the thing, is we need to learn what the game is. What the hell is going on here?
What I was going to get to is NASA's a contract. You'd have to really look at what they are contracted to do. They may be fulfilling the contract as they are employed to fulfill it, which may have nothing to do with actually exploring, but fulfilling a contract. It's our money system. They are providing a service that they were contracted to do because in 1912, decided we were too lazy to do it ourselves. They are fulfilling a contract. Yes, their contract is deceived, and they skewed the numbers to make it so that they win, but they are fulfilling a contract. So, and it's their court, their games, their rules, and they wrote the contract, so they are not violating any laws. Everything Hitler did was legal. So, yes, in morality, they are very bad people. But in their
I have to say that when Hitler did, maybe it took 5-10 days for people to actually get the news, whereas we get it almost instantaneously. So that it's changed a little bit, hasn't it? In these days, it could take them, I don't know, maybe a month to know the truth of news, whereas we get it a day on the television. So there's no excuses today.
I know,
They've got away with it anymore.
It's harder for them to lie nowadays because, we can see things live as it's happening, you know.
So you're going to have to speak into your microphone because we just can't.
Something must be covering.
Yeah, it sounds like you have got something covering your. You turned something down somewhere in there. See if you could do that, Astral, because it's annoying for the hangout. Do yourself and just mess around and see if you can find your volume. Right, we'll leave Astral to do that because we just can't hear him, and he's got some good points, so it's a little annoying. But I just is go onto any of the NASA feeds and look for yourself. You will find the mistakes. No, it won't move. My panel won't move. That's it. You can find the mistakes. You just go and have a look at any of the footage. You can see it.
It's so bad. It's so disgusting. It makes you just want to like punch something. You know, it just makes you want to punch something. How just.
Yeah, do you think that they're actually
fireworks? It's not even a good rocket. It's like,
is that what it is? They're making us say we don't believe anything.
The red flame, you know, it's like a fake flame. It's like, and then there's these lights underneath it, make it look like you could touch it. Well, that's what they're using, like for the rocket things now. You know, their rocket launches now. They're using like hover rocket, like helium rockets, and just, you know, I mean, they're not even doing a good show. It's not even a good, you know. I mean, like the moon landing.
And if anybody thinks about it, so out of date, really, for everything that they've got, everything they can do, and they're still
Movies are better, yeah.
ridiculous.
But that makes so much money. And not only that, but they hurt children. They do these rituals, orgies, and who can sell out their kids? Who can sell out the country? Now you're going to sell out, you know, yourself. Now you're going to sell out your wife. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, and all to learn that the Earth is flat. You understand all that just to learn the Earth is flat. Sad.
Sorry, FPV, you want me? I don't know if I did actually put the chat thing on, but if I disappear, Ceres has got to do it. For some reason, when I take the button off, all anybody sees, and it's stuck on me. The pictures ran manually. So Ceres, you're going to have to take over while I go and change the chat room. I haven't gone. So Ceres, you have to watch everybody talking and move it on. So I'll just go and do that, all right? I'll just mute myself and go and do it.
You just can't drop out and drop in, or you can't stop the hangout then?
I don't know what that does when I do that. All right, I'll drop out and come back in. I'll go and mend the slow mode on, and I'll come back. You can carry on talking then. I'll be gone for a moment.
I was in Puerto Rico once, and everybody took turns talking, and they all talked for 10 minutes each, and it was a really long time. And it wasn't a talking exercise. It was actually a listening exercise, and we all had to sit and listen to it, and it was a long time. Like, it was a real long time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had to turn and then listen. It was private conversations. It wasn't like everyone, you know. But when you have to talk for 10 minutes straight, it takes you a long time to get into it. But once you get into the flow, you are like, wow. You know, and telling everybody everything you know about anything, you know. And it kind of reminds me of that, you know. Everyone takes turns and just talks, and everyone listens. And it's like a listening exercise as well as a talking exercise, I guess.
I guess I'm a good listener.
That's harder to do just for some people than talking. It's easier for people to talk. Some people, it's easier for people to listen, you know. So you got to do a little of both. I know.
Yeah, it's the only way to learn on somebody else's island.
Yeah, and you're not used to people listening to you. You're not used to it. You're just not.
Yeah, it's for me, talking is a little bit harder because at some point I really need things like questions. A question can actually initiate an answer, and that answer I can bring them as fully as possible. But then, what is the next question?
You have to be in the moment.
Yeah, be a thought train.
And where do those thoughts come from? Like when you're chatting with people, where do these ideas that like I'll be talking to someone and all these things will just magically appear in my head, like in an instant, and I'll just talk about it. But where do they come from? You know?
Intuitive. It's a higher level of, you get just in a split second a complete bookwork of an idea in your head as an answer. And then you have to extrapolate that into the words to actually speak them out. And it's to
right.
As much of it as possible in there. And then hope that the other actually can decompress it into that particular old book, what you got in a split second.
Let me get a drink, and I'll be right back. I'm drinking a chocolate raw cacao powder. Gives you energy. It makes you feel love. And I mix it with some nut milk and a little stevia honey. So I'm going to make another one. I'll be right back, okay?
Is that almond nut milk? Or?
Do we have a switching channel now, or is Maria now the only focus?
I'm just doing something that you sent me, Ceres. At the moment because I'm looking at I've lost it now.
Oh, no, Maria is the hangout.
Yeah, I can't do it, Ceres.
Marie's getting a drink.
Just put, there you go. Ooh. Yes, there's Ceres now.
Yeah.
There's me. It's got stuck on me tonight for some reason.
No, I present you now because it's stuck on Maria now.
Well, she's gone.
On my end, it's fine. If I look at the Hangout, I can see all the icons switching when everybody stops.
That's good. Then.
Oh,
We're doing it manually at the moment.
Oh, you're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
manually. Okay.
Oh, no. Keeps
I
on-
saw it. I saw it change in the hangout. But
We hear him.
yeah,
Astral, that's so much better.
Okay,
yeah, that's better,
Good.
man.
good. I've got earache. Can't hear. Oh, that's better actually.
So, Astral, say something now. We can hear you.
Testing. 1 2 1 2. Testing 1.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We've got a microphone to begin with. It's better now, though. No, I'm only joking. It's okay. Good. No, I'm interested. Just listening to what you're all saying. So you just carry on.
Just for other people, well, what was wrong with your mic that it was so soft? If other people have the same problem in the hangout, how did you solve it?
I haven't got a clue. I just disconnected and then reconnected and whoop-de-doo.
Well, that works. Because sometimes I also see another hangout and see some people have sometimes the same problem that you can almost hear them, but just disconnect your mic and put it back in and it works again. Okay, so that's handy for some people to know if they have the same problem.
I'm gonna drop out and drop in again, I guess. You're there.
Yeah, that sometimes also works. Yeah. Ceres is we always have some technical problems with the Sun and Moon group. It's our
There's always got to be some technical problem.
yeah, sure. It's always.
I think it's working
like
okay
that.
now.
Ceres is back again.
We're hey, there's Ceres. Someone else talk now.
No, it's finally switching.
It's still stuck on me, Ceres.
Yeah, you keep being stuck there.
Sometimes
No,
if you press.
Okay, it's going. It's working on its own now. That's really hard work, changing everybody over all the time. It's working okay now.
Okay.
I just can't believe, like, looking at these footages, and you just got to go and do some information. It's just like there's pictures of them, like astronauts in a vacuum chamber. Yeah, so there's nothing in there because it's a complete vacuum, and they're walking around, and people still don't notice it. They're not bouncing. It's all just a joke. It's just one big screen of joke, and blue screens and green screens and wires and CGI and fake space and water. And, you know, I did one series of seeing it where and they're underwater, aren't they, Ceres, and the noise that it makes.
Also, I saw some footage when they were on the ISS, that lady that is now often on with the hair sticking up, that you could actually see that it almost looks like she was in an hanging on to a part of the wall and was floating horizontal, almost like she was in an airplane and it was flying direction, because she went time after time she went horizontal at the same angle. So that was also very strange to see, because if you're weightless, you don't get on an angle every time the same angle. And she was it almost looks
exactly
like
what's happening, Otis. There's no way because they keep having to put their hands up so they touch the ceiling to make sure they don't touch the ceilings. They all put their hands up.
Mm-hmm.
Around and quite sort of just floating. You just wouldn't be doing these things. It's because the aeroplane, and what they reckoned was that it takes weeks to film these things because the aeroplane can only do this thing for 25 seconds.
Yep.
Seconds, there's going to be a flash or a cut, and it can
look,
take them. Oh, little doggy!
Little doggy. Hello.
Little doggy.
Oh, so sweet.
Can I just say something?
Of course you can. Go, Patricia.
Oh, sorry. I watched a television program. I think it was something like Calendar News or something, and there was these disabled children that had, like, for a competition, and they was to go in the Giro Force aeroplanes. They all had like disabilities and stuff, and it made me laugh because one of the women that was helping the children sort of float around and all that lot had her hair lacquered up to look like she was in the space station. And I just thought, are they just trying to make us think, oh yeah, that's what your hair does? But nobody else's hair did anything. It was just hers because she had quite long hair. And I've seen ones of them actually in the plane, and their hair doesn't go like that. I just thought I'd add that.
And you've got to think about it. When women go to war, okay, soldiers, they will have shaved their hairs or have very short hair. So why does most of them in that space station have really long hair?
So you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, isn't it like a kind of a military thing? You know, they're supposed to shave their heads. G.I. Jane. And
yeah.
The whole body has to be waxed, right? Because it makes for, I don't know, when they go in their suits or something, or it's easier. I don't know.
They deserve chafing. They deserve to be chafed.
So
like
they shave
girls,
themselves
like little boys, like babies.
Women with really long hair.
Well,
I think
so
someone thought, Maria will know, and Patricia, the ladies, like, because, you know, like, for instance, like Angel's got, you know, short hair. Women, like, the hair would be falling out all the time. There'd be long hairs everywhere.
Yeah, but then they couldn't.
Yeah, it would get in people's eyes. It would get people's eyes. It would seduce men. I mean, you can't have sex in space.
Years. Imagine how many hairs there are floating around. Oh my goodness. Oh. You never see them cleaning, is it? You never see them cleaning. And so that's why the space station looks like a store cupboard that someone's just kept throwing the stuff in. I mean, sometimes when they're sort of floating around in there's things everywhere, just rubbish everywhere.
Yeah,
what about skin mites?
Yeah, that would be cool when the doorbell would ring on the ISS. Ding dong, housekeeping.
And then also the thing's never even been earthed.
Mm-hmm.
And then what it is you say, for instance, a plane can get static, but it lands and it releases the static, and that thing's been up there for years and has never been discharged.
Yeah. NASA's in trouble. They shouldn't have killed Stanley Kubrick. They need him back badly.
Yeah, he's the person he was brilliant.
They need him back. They shouldn't have killed him. They're like, what do we do? we need him to make our Mars landing.
They wanted to have that extra 18 minutes, or he would have had enforced that 18 minutes in the Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, well, what was that? It was this child sacrifice, I bet you. It's child sacrifice, right? Or faking
Probably,
space or something like that.
Or maybe the Pope was in the scene. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be. Only flat earthers will know. Only flat earthers think that.
I reckon what we should do is, if they really believe those rockets take them to the moon or outer space, why doesn't a political person go on one? And because they can't, can they? Because they die. Send a politician on one.
Hell no. You know, Obama made fun of Trump at a very prestigious dinner. He gave a roast. He didn't really roast Trump, but he said, "Oh, Trump is in the audience. Trump, he believes we didn't go to the moon." And everyone was like, look at him. And he turned bright red. He still thinks P. Diddy is alive or something.
Let me give you a nice mental thought. You know the movies like Gattaca, where everyone's lining up to go off-world. Let's say that they start lining people up to go off-world. Everyone here would believe that that would be a death sentence. But if people are lining up to do it, that would be a great way to cull the population.
Yes, everybody get on a rocket. Let's go to the moon.
People would pay to do
$1,000.
it. People would pay to do it.
$1,000 ticket from Elon Musk.
And then you could turn around and you could, for the other people, be like, oh, all you people, you know, we're sending all these little like people from Indonesia up there as a gift from the UN. Yeah, there you go. You could be doing that all day long, and everyone would be smiling and giving money to donate to the cause because they think they're saving everybody because they're all going to Marsaronian. That's just one of the thoughts I have now that I look back at a movie like Gattaca after the beliefs I have now compared to the beliefs I had then. And the way that they think and the whole, you know, Georgia Guidestones, and we shall maintain the population at less than 1/2 billion. That would be a great way to do it on the whole premise that it's, you know, you're going to someplace better. It's better than Hell's Gate. It's better than, you know, Jamestown Drink the Juice, which I really think was injections, and the juice story is a cover because that was an MK Ultra project, but that's a whole nother side story for another day.
I believe that.
Well, thank you. At least I'm not the only one in my own.
It's not that it was a project. It's they've kind of hijacked and set up camp and decided that was their project now.
He was going to do it on his own. He's like, I could do this myself. Look, I'm going to go to South America and do it on my own. They're like, dude, somebody outside the company is doing it. Well, he's not actually outside the company. Well, he's doing it on his own. Well, shut it down. Shut down everybody that knows about it. Shut it down.
Yeah. And they still exist today everywhere, in every state.
Yeah, because once you have the knowledge of how to do it, any bad thing here, but any good pimp knows how to break his hoe. And once you do that, she's you know, you've got that leash. And it's a mental thing. It's the same premise. It's
you're nobody.
You know,
you're nothing. You're a piece of shit.
Just saying that Black Sabbath in the chat room says NASA should have to pay the America back every cent with interest.
Sure, except for if they were contracted to do exactly what they're doing.
They should be banished to the undergrounds unless they come clean and bring all the proofs of everybody's crimes that they've all committed.
Launch them up there with a 24/7 camera live streaming backwards and one going up so we can watch as it hits the dome.
Judgment's here. And you know what? They're not paying for their crimes. They're paying crimes of their parents, their grandparents, because a lot of these jobs they give to themselves. You know, they hook themselves up. They hook their families up. You know, and they also sell their families out too.
You're right.
I really think some of the offsprings are completely oblivious to the big picture. They're just riding a wave. They're just riding a wave, and they don't know what they're really in control of. They're like steering a ship, but they don't know what the engine is. They don't really understand how to read the time and date.
Or they do. I mean,
from the stars. They don't. They have no idea what they're really in control of. And what deception, or even what they're trying.
Asking them, what does everybody think about the actual, you know, the rocket when the teachers and all those people died? Do you think that was an accident that the rocket exploded, or do you think they planned it, pretending that all the astronauts died and making the whole world like sad, and you know we were so upset and everything, and it's all a lie? And
well, supposedly, I'm sure they planned it.
Well, that particular one, some of those people you still have, they are still hypothetically alive today. They're
still alive.
Are using the same names. They don't hide it. It's just like the Sandy Hook people. They're still the same people. They just, you know, go on and about, and the real news doesn't take the time to put them in the news and say, hey, this is the same person. It's only we, the alternative news, that say, hey, look, this is the same person, you know, because they're cookie cuttering the scenario. They're, you know, cut
Yeah,
and paste.
weren't two of them twins or something? Apparently.
They can say that. They can always make a story after the fact.
Yeah.
They have to do something to keep plugging the holes.
Isn't that bad? I mean, they should be taken to court for that, shouldn't they? For what they did, pretending to kill the astronauts, or the astronauts dying, and they didn't.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. See, that's one of these things that, you know, we didn't give them. I mean, we don't give them. I mean, if you asked every American, like, I don't think we give them permission. I know people say it's by silence, but I don't think if you ask, it's going to be no. People are going to say, no, we don't give permission for them to do this. You know, they tricked us. They hijacked our everything. Like everywhere you look, it's space and dinosaurs and germs. I mean, they've hijacked everything, and now they're injecting us with stuff. Pretty soon, they're just gonna suicide themselves. And why would they want to do that? It's just, I don't know.
Or give us free tickets tomorrow.
Because they've got to continue the lie, haven't they? That they've made us into a ball.
Why would they want to? There's more gold in flat Earth. There's no gold on the globe. There's none. It's all hidden from you. There's more peace. There's more everything in the flat Earth. Okay, and there's more community. There's more power, and it's contagious.
They don't want peace.
I mean, look at our movement. Look at the stats. I mean, Jesus, look at it. I mean, just look at the personalities. And there's globalists among us too. There's globalists among us. Okay. Also,
They all hate the one. Because they hate them, because they hate him, they hate us. Because we are going to the one.
right.
We are working for the one.
Yes, but there's no such thing as damned, and they can come clean if they bring names, and maybe we will forgive them. You know, if they bring proof of all this to the whole world or something.
They're in their own hell.
It has to be a sacrifice. It has to be a sacrifice, because when you're damned, I think you can be forgiven of. It just depends what your repentance is. Repentance.
Repenting.
It's got to be big. It's got to be big.
It's either repent or die.
Or be banished or sealed up in the undergrounds, you know, or
Practically die, I guess.
or die. See, people don't want to see death. I mean, the innocents of the world don't want to see death. You know, they got to be either be banished or sealed up in the undergrounds. And we can call it hell. We can call it hell, and we can just put them down there, like under the Denver airport or something. You know, it's my plan. It's my political plan. It is.
Maria, you have
it would work.
Imagination, banished, and
yeah. Well, it's something nobody wants, you know.
They seem to have forgotten that we're human.
It's got to be punishment, like mental anguish, you know.
They seem to have forgotten that we're human beings. We're human beings.
So you want to forgive them?
Pardon?
Okay, you can forgive them. Like I said, if they bring names. Yeah, if they bring proof positive that this is happening, yeah, we can forgive them. I'm human.
I don't mean that. I mean this whole thing, all these lies, deceit. We're human beings. What is all this about?
Yeah, they think we're stupid. They really think we're stupid.
We are more than we think of ourselves.
There's no power in globe Earth. It's just slavery. You're a slave.
Exactly.
And they got you. They got you. And they got you.
They've already said this. We're in some kind of communism already, and most people don't realise it. You're not free. There's no free Western society.
We're all
battle for the world.
Born a slave.
It's all a corporation.
Exactly.
There's a lot of foot soldiers.
Every state is a corporation. It doesn't matter on what level it is.
Well, let's become a corporation. Let's become a flat Earth corporation, and you know, I mean,
not corporate.
Let's start a bank, a flat Earth bank. Let's start a university, a flat Earth university, a flat Earth museum.
If we actually got dimes printed that were silver, can't call them a dime, because that was the whole problem with the guy who made the Liberty dollar, is he called it a dollar. So you have to make it about the size of 1/10 of an ounce of silver.
Flat Earth coin.
And you make a flat Earth coin, and it's 1/10 of an ounce.
Our money, yeah.
And you start passing it around, and it's real silver, and it's flat Earth. Boom, done, end of story. And then it's a real thing, and you You don't give it any name
We
that
need a military. We need our own military because people are going to come after us over this.
Indeed,
We need our own military.
I think
Indeed,
that
if you,
that
Airplane.
would be a great thing. That- and we could put that other end on the other side.
and indeed, if
I'm
you
just talking.
actually make them of precious metal, they are always worth the amount of silver. Well,
I'd love to see an aeroplane with flat Earth or something on it flying around.
Yeah.
That would be
A military airplane.
because back in the day, the dollars were made of silver.
Flat Earth cop.
so-
Flat Earth police. Flat Earth police just protects us.
Aaron, do you remember the Lumen project? He wants to make flat TV.
Yeah. Flat
Earth
media.
TV.
ODD. I already watch it. I already watch it all the time. You know?
Mhm. Is that
It
chocolate?
is slowly
yeah.
happening because we,
Is
today
that
we had
Marina
with Gary, who's got the convention going in April. Yeah, obviously America.
Chocolate's
have got
getting to
their
me.
conference.
Is that mixed with almond milk or?
This is almond milk and raw cacao powder and a little stevia honey. And I blend it up with some ice. And it's so
nice.
good. And it's so good. And you know what? If you take this at like midnight, you'll be up all night until 6 in the morning. And it's not caffeine different. It's theobromine. It makes you feel love. You know? Like, I love chocolate. Yeah, I love chocolate. That's why people get addicted to chocolate. It's not the sugar. It's the theobromine.
Well, they also say that chocolate is good for your heart. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What they usually do is they bring something out, then they say it's really bad for you, it could kill you or something, and then about 10 years later, it's the complete opposite, and it was really good for you.
Well, chocolate is
Yeah, now
always
it's sugar, processed sugar. Yeah.
yeah, chocolate is always been known to be good for your health and for your heart. If you take it in normal quantities, of course.
Yeah, I don't. They say you can talk to God if you had 40 beans. And I tried it a long time ago.
You have 40 what?
40 beans. I made a 40 bean smoothie and I had it. And
What did he say?
I was well, he said go to Paris, and I went to Paris. I was in a mall, and I saw a polo black, that perfume, and the guy, and I looked at him, he said go to Paris, and I bought my ticket like that week or something, and I went, and I'd never been to Paris in my entire life. I didn't talk to anyone when I was there. I just went to the museums, and the entire time I was there, I was eating chocolate every day. I mean, it was great.
I did that in San Francisco. I didn't talk to anybody for a whole day, but I rode all the sidecars. But what I was going to get to is what you were saying about the good beans and bad beans, or good chocolate and bad chocolate. Dark chocolate, chocolate from the cocoa bean, chocolate from the butter of the bean is good chocolate. What we have today, the normal store-bought chocolate, is like high fructose corn syrup with chocolate flavoring and wax and other stuff. It's not.
You don't get
good chocolate. It's
Yeah.
not even, in some cases, no tree involved. So we've it really
Chemical.
depends on what you call good and bad. When they focus on, like, saying, soon they'll say honey is bad for you because the stuff
Yeah.
that you buy at a store, no bees are
Yeah.
involved.
Indeed, in some countries there's even not even a regulation to call something honey. You can put it on any bottle. In America, they don't have a regulation. If you put something in a glass jar that looks like honey, you can sell it as honey.
Selling
The only
selling
honey
product.
you will find
You know,
is the local one, the local beehive. That's where you get it.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
That's the best thing to do, to get it.
cannabis honey. There's cannabis honey, and then there's also stevia honey.
I like that cannabis honey.
That's the funny honey.
Only a little bit. Only a little bit.
I love
I have a friend up in Alaska. What he does is, next to him they have somebody else, and they bring out beehives once every 2 or 3 months, and they stick them out there in the field. And he knows their schedule, and what he does is he gets dried ice and he puts dry ice and then burlap on top of that, and he freezes the roots of his plants, which makes the plants cry out because they got so much CO2, and the roots are half of the plant, like, feed me, feed me. So all these bees, he just sees them beelining towards his little thing that goes, because he's got an underground grow. And he sees these little beehives come in there like a highway, because they're all like, oh, I smell it, man. You know, and they fertilize all his bees. So
wow.
Whoever gets that honey, they're getting, like, you know, honey that comes from the pollen of THC, marijuana grow stuff.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
that would be a really good honey. But
yeah,
that's just the magic thing. Now, there's also the oil, which is, you know, some people can make a honey and a butter out of that. But, you know, so there's a bit of both. There's both sides would be a good side of the coin. So.
Whereabouts in the US?
Cannabis rights. Well, you know.
Sorry. There's where also the propolis comes in play, because that's also extracted from the beehive, and it's a natural antibiotica. So if you take that in the flu season, you prevent yourself from getting sick.
It's got a real nice taste, that has.
Propolis, yeah, it's had a very distinctive taste. You can recognize
like
it very
a woody taste.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to eat. Oh, sorry.
Hey, go ahead.
Best way for me was I put it in my smoothie, a little bee pollen, and you know, a little honey and propolis. You eat it, right? It's like the actual hive.
Yep.
Right.
It's in the hive, and it's very healthy.
And you eat it, right? You're supposed to eat it, right?
Eat it, yeah.
Not decoration, right?
Don't rub it in your,
I thought it was decoration. Okay.
Oh, you eat it. Yeah.
Well, and also you have propolis you can use that they put in make it a substance, and I think they mix it with alcohol, and you can treat the wounds with them on your body. If you have a wound or you have a sore and you put propolis on it, it also works very good to get rid of guts. Or if you have a skin, some small skin things,
burn.
you can put propolis on it, burns, or you have a skin, you have to treat some skin with, you have a rash or something, it also works very good on all kinds of rashes. It takes care of all those things, and that's the fluid propolis. You can buy them with actually a pipette. You can drop the fluid in your hand on the place where you want to treat something, and it works nicely. I've been using propolis, the fluid one, for almost 20 years, and it works perfectly. And my dad had a health issue, and he also started taking propolis, and now all the health issues he had are gone. So it works perfectly.
Has anybody on this panel changed their life a little bit since they've been flat earther? You know, like more natural remedies or drinks. Maria, have you changed yourself at all because of being a flat earther?
I've been like that all my life, natural. I was raw vegan in 2003, fruitarian 3 years. I mean, real hippie. You know, I was real into, you know, stuff most people's not into. But no, I think I became more into politics and cartooning, because it seems like there's a lot at stake, and I just want to help the flat earth movement the best way I can. And I got a plan. I got my personal plan, you know, and I'm working on it. I really am. You know, it's an obsession of mine, you know. I want to push the party forward, the flat earth party, you know. I really do.
Anybody else sort of changed any ways or thought about things differently because of flat earth and what everything means? I mean, obviously, one of the biggest things I've done. But anyway, yeah, carry on, Patricia.
I have. I mean, I was slightly leaning towards it I think once you realise all the lies they're telling you about the GMOs and just to want to kill people off, it's about flat earth, it's about everything. And I've stopped eating meat. I'm trying to go slightly vegan, but I'm struggling a little bit at the minute. But just, I want to be as healthy as I can. I know I'm still going to come across something that I can't really change, but yeah, I think it's better than just sticking the way I was. Because once you, like I said, once you realise they've lied about a lot of things, you just think, oh, live my life the way I can, the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just a tip for Patricia: if you're still eating some meat, it's smart to buy the not the processed meat like burgers, but just the real normal steaks that look like meat still, and buy the ones that are not seasoned, because often when they season the meat, they put a lot of salt on it with the seasoning, and even in the seasoning there's sometimes very bad additives and preservatives in the seasoning on the meat. So if you buy meat, buy the meat without any seasoning or any liquid with seasoning on it, just the plain meat, and season it yourself with the herbs you want. That provides you get the better meat.
What about children's cereals? Has got rat poisoning in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even
rat poisoning.
Well, what I always say to everybody, if you buy something in the store, some people don't want to spend a lot of time reading the packages because it's some people think, well, it's too much to read. Just read the packages really quick, and if it looks like a chemistry exam, don't buy it.
Oh,
the simplest way telling people not to buy a lot of.
If you made it, you probably wouldn't want to eat it. Like if you worked in that factory, you probably wouldn't want to eat it, right?
Well, and if you have something you buy and you know for well there's some types of cabbages and things in it, and you have a very long list with all kinds of strange names, you know for certain they have a lot of additives and preservatives in it. And if they put a lot of additives and preservatives in the food, why do they do that? Because the food would taste very shitty if they don't put all those additives and preservatives and taste enhancers in, because most of those
you would realize
factories, but yeah, most of those factories buy the cheapest vegetables and fruits they put in their products, and so they have to put all kinds of flavor enhancers in there, so it tastes nice, but it only tastes nice because they put all kinds of flavorings in it, artificial flavors, and often a lot of salt and a lot of, if there's a lot of sugar and salt in a product, that you think, well, why does the product need sugar and so much salt? You know for sure that they are hiding the bad flavor of the actual product. So, and why do they do that? They only have to pull a small amount. Yeah?
When you're saying that, right, we are supposed to have governments and supposed to have like, what do they do this all? We live under, like, they make all these conditions. They're supposed to have all these things in place to stop all this. And all they're doing is giving children their cereals. I mean, how does all that happen with all these governments and rules?
You have your regulations. They can add. They can add a certain amount of percentage of additives and preservatives in food, and then they just keep it just under the dangerous level.
Yeah,
that you can get sick of it. But
They
if
put their people in government too.
Yeah,
they cheat with things. They call them different names. They get things registered in.
No one tests them. No one checks them out.
And what they even do to make it as hard as possible for the people who check the food, if the food regulations company check the foods, they actually, you had in Europe two types of numbers because all the food in Europe is numbered with E numbers, European food and additive and preservative numbers. And back in the day, you had a different number for additives that were chemical and they were organic. And I think about 1999, around that time period in the 90s, they changed it and they made one number of it. So the chemical numbers and the numbers for the real plant-based additives that are healthy, they are like beets or something to color something. There's the natural numbers and the chemical numbers. They made one number of this. So if you read the package, you don't know if you have the chemical one or the natural one. It's just one number. And some factories print after the number that it's a real natural coloring agent or something, but most of the time the package just doesn't say it. So they made it as hard for everybody as possible to recognize the healthy food. So
incredible. They've got all these regulations, and then if you actually look at things, if you actually worked out what was in the product, you wouldn't eat it.
Well, sometimes if you read the box and it's
people are eating on the go, aren't they? You know, they're getting their lunches, they're buying them out, eat on the go. They don't have time to look at all the chemicals in their products they're eating.
That's why I say it's a very long. It's a very long list, and it looks like a chemistry exam. Don't buy it.
In the past,
and all those names are trademarked and they owned by companies, and it's all, and they all feed each other, and then they all put their men in their government, and it's all like a monopoly.
That's the point here. It's corporate regulated these days. That's why Codex Alimentarius was there, put in place. Before that, we were the ones actually deciding what was our food. After that, Europe got this decided, and then not Europe as a politician part. No, the corporate Europe. They decide what is good in our food now. Yeah. So that's why we eat chemicals these days in practically everything.
Well, they make them
taking all the
guinea pigs. Guinea pigs.
Make it from raw.
Even in our fruits and vegetables, it's grown inside. You can't get it out.
But think about it. All the fruits and vegetables that are looking nice enough to put in the supermarket, they put in the supermarket so you can buy it. All the vegetables and fruit that don't look very nice and all are the worst quantity, they put in the processed food. And that's why they have to put additives and preservatives as flavor enhancers in it, because it is the shittiest fruit and vegetables they can get for the cheapest price, so they can make more money. That's what is always is. They want to make as much money as possible with the cheapest products and just put some flavor enhancers and some additives and preservatives. With a nice packaging.
Chemical diet it's used to control and to create harm and jobs for doctors.
I found food enhancers as the chemical components in the place where you, where you buy the herbs.
Herbalist.
Between the herbs of where you buy all the herbs, there was also the food as an enhancer, the E621. As just as an ingredient for
MSG.
Food.
Angel, what do you think, Angel, about all this stuff like rat poisoning in children's cereals and?
Well, they put human hairs in bread to raise it quicker.
Abortions and colas and stuff.
Goose fat.
The flavor testing, but and they use the liver cells. But the reason that they put salt is because of what's osmosis. The water through a cell membrane. If you put a little bit of salt, just like if you're in the ocean, you don't drink the salt water because it actually makes the water in your cell come out to equalize the water in your blood vessels. So if they put a tiny bit of salt, you don't actually absorb any water. Hence the whole quench your thirst is an oxymoron, because it doesn't quench your thirst. They put just enough salt in there so you drink it, you don't benefit from it, and you are thirsty still, so you drink more because they want you to be a consumer. They are not trying to quench your thirst. That's the last thing they want. They want you to be thirsty
They want you
forever.
addicted. They want to pervert you.
They want you addicted in every
They
way.
don't even put like natural salt in. They put we're supposed to have oh, I can't think what it's called now. What's the name salt? And they put my mind's gone blank. Refined.
MSG?
Refined salt, and they put refined salt in, which is full of chemicals.
Yeah.
If they put iodide, that would be good. However, the other thing about why we can eat the food is because the FDA only tests something for 90 days. If it doesn't kill it, it usually being a rat, in 90 days, it's safe. So if it doesn't kill you in 90 days, it's okay. Doesn't matter if that rat has sterile children, or actually more than that, its offspring has sterile children.
Or that rat doesn't get as old as it should be, only 4 years old.
Right. None of that matters. It just matters that it doesn't die in 90 days, because that's the test. So if I gave you cookies with a tiny bit of arsenic on it, they'd be okay if you don't die in 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, then they can blame something
in
else.
91 days. You know, so it's the way they do it. It's word games. It's a bunch of word games, and the FDA is paid with the test that says, look, all these rats didn't die in 90 days. Here's a bunch of money. Here's the tests that show they didn't die. And
it's just an extension of the same authority lie. I mean, and we keep believing this. Yeah, okay, we we're gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna do. Yeah. We are here to serve you, and that's what we get to pay as well. Huh? They call it a service, and we pay for it. And in the meanwhile, we're not actually realizing how we are manipulated into actually consenting in this. It's all our own consent, but actually we're supposed to do this all.
You're right. You're right. And you know what? We can do the same thing back because we don't have their consent. We don't have NASA's consent. They're silent. We can do this. We don't have their consent, so let's just make up our own rules. Because, you know, we don't have their consent, so it's okay. Because they're not talking to flat earthers, are they?
You don't really have to make up your own rules. There's already a set of rules in place. They just have to obey them. They're already set in place. Almost every country already has a set of rules.
They will always be the parent there to care for you as you are the child. Yeah. Never realizing that we can actually grow up into an adult level.
And we can be their parents, and maybe we're their parents. Maybe we're older and wiser and smarter, and maybe they're dumber and confused and scared shitless.
What's all this maybe?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe they need us to take care of them and protect them. I mean, you never know. Maybe we're the parents.
Oh yeah, the biggest fear is that we realize that we can be the adult and actually get out of that parenthood, what they actually
exactly
shove us.
We can do, hey kids, look at some flat earth proofs, yay! Just like they do, you know, with their globe earth. You know, we can do the same thing.
I want to publicize Jaren's thing, no matter which way it goes when it happens, because that one that they did that Jaren ripped the hole in with their whole curvature test over a lake, that was that was totally fictitious. The way they did it it went against their own measurements, but that's a whole side issue. To my understanding, when I say we, the United States is the only country that technically we own our government. Everybody else is still under some sort of rule, which is
because we have guns, and now because we have guns, it's the only reason. Yeah,
it's not just because we have guns; it's because our government is supposed to be an agreement of the people by the people, not a monarchy rules, where in almost every other country, a monarchy rules. But either way, if we just got them to obey the rules that they already have, it would be great. But we, the people, need to know the rules, which is why I have both the 10 Commandments and the Bill of Rights on my refrigerator. So I don't have them memorized.
Don't you? What you're saying is that it's supposed to be the government's around what the people want, but you know that's not true, and because of like or things going on or working and bills and debt and all that nobody's looking, and a lot of people just don't care. They just haven't got time to care about anything they live in.
It's education. It's knowledge sharing. Maybe
because they're globe earthers, they don't care. That's why.
It's because that's how they've been educated.
Yeah, because they believe it all, don't they? They believe it all. So what would they be questioning anything for?
Yeah,
everything's fantastic.
They believe all the lies on a television with the programming. They believe all that, and so therefore they also believe all the commercials. When there's the commercials on TV say this product, you have to buy it now because it's good. You have to have it as soon as possible. And they run to the store and get their product, and don't read the packaging or the ingredients or nothing. And that's what they absorb everything like a sponge. They squeeze out of the television, and they don't think about nothing. Actually, do some research or think, well, is this the truth? No, they absorb everything like a sponge that the television is telling them from the government on the television.
The story made sense until I found a problem with the story. And it was somebody who tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Are you sure about that curve?"
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I had a problem with the curve. And that, it isn't until I actually then looked, and you find out we have people with P90 cameras that can take pictures that they shouldn't be able to take. Mm-hmm. And they can take them consistently. And they can take them very easily, and both of mountain ridges and water level. And I said, Jared's going to do his laser test, and other people have done lasers over ice test, and it's really kind of cut and dry. But
you have enough proof to see that it's a flat plane. There's enough proof for that.
Yeah. So it's.
I kind of know how it works already, but how to explain it to anyone else? It's really something on their own effort to get to that level. Because I can't move them in one place to another without their own understanding.
Well, you give them some examples, and what I always say do is I give them some examples that are very clear, and then I tell them do the rest of your research yourself, and found out what resonates, what certain kinds of channel resonates with you, but just do your research and actually also do research if I'm right for yourself, and then you will get the truth actually that we not are living on a globe. And,
we're not all the same either.
Yeah. Sometimes I start with food as a beginning, and then I go to flat earth. Sometimes I go about electric cars, and then I roll into flat earth.
Yeah, first.
And I always do a little step plan. First, I talk about a little lighter subject and see if people are a bit open-minded. Electric cars is probably a subject that most people are willing to talk about, and you can already see sometimes about how they react to your knowledge, if they are curious about that sort of things, and if they want to know more. And if that works smoothly, you can go slowly into flat earth. And most of the time, if the first bit resonates with them, the second bit often also resonates with them. So that's why I do a little bit step up, not go again straight ahead. Flat earth, the earth is flat, because some people.
You know what I think? I think what it is
how the stomach works.
We have to realise they've put us into boot camp. We're in boot camp and we don't realise it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
kind of
what I say, it was perfectly set in a movie, and I think I can maybe reproduce it. What they did is they let the inmates build their own prison, so they don't see it as a prison anymore. And only if you wake up, you still recognize it, that it is a prison. But most of the people don't see it because they have their pride in building their own prison. They are proud they build their own prison. And it's very hard to break out of that and see it again as a prison. And most people aren't able to do that.
Pride is ego's.
Especially if you're talented these days and you try to make it, you'll never make it just on talent. You got to do bad things and you got to sell yourself out and your family and, you know, and if you want to make it to the tippy top, well, it's all Luciferians up there.
Yeah, but why? Why do you want to?
Because you want your music to be heard by everybody. And they won't let you hear it if it's a positive message, you know, so they're going to ruin it. You know, even if you do claim your you appreciate what you've done because you know deep inside what you had to do. Like it's your own thing. It's not your own creation. You're just a puppet.
Is Maria breaking up, or is it just me?
There's talent.
Sounds like a Dalek, yeah.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, Maria.
You can't. People are not always ready for the information. I mean, some need to start with the milk of the milk, and the other of the meat of the milk, and another can already start with the milk of the meat, and then some people are actually ready for the meat of the meat. Kind of how you can digest it with your capabilities of thinking, I guess. And not everybody has really learned to think, as it is kind of a muscle you have to train.
Exactly.
And if you're not really used to it, it's gonna hurt in there, you know. I have several friends
and a lot deeper.
With me that how it is a globe, but they can't figure out that they have to prove it to themselves, that they are actually believing a fantasy, that they're so stuck in their cognitive dissonance that they can't get that over that one little step.
It's like when you're vegan, people say, "Where do you get your protein?" And you go, "Well, what's protein?" And they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know.
Well, I've been a vegetarian, vegan for all my life because my mom and dad were already vegetarian. And I remember it very clear when I was a teenager and I was at school. I told people that I was a vegan. First of all, they didn't know what it was back then. And you had to explain why you were a vegan. And most of them even had the stereotype thought when you are a vegan, you are a troublemaker and you are not healthy and you have to eat meat. You're skinny. You have a pale skin and all that sort of. Basically, they were telling you were some kind of wizard or something, a strange person. But a lot of teachers even told in the classroom, yeah, you have to eat meat because it's healthy. And when I told at the presentation that I was a vegetarian, even the teacher said, yeah, you have to eat meat because if you don't eat meat, you're going to die and all that sort of crazy thing. That was in the early 80s. People had that type of mindset because most of the time I was the only vegan at the whole school. And most of the time in my neighborhood, there weren't any vegans around. It was also hard to get vegan food or substitutes for meat like tofu and tempeh and that sort of things, or for rice substitutes with nuts in them. And the same thing is now, same stage is a bit with flat earth in the beginning. A lot of people weren't flat earthers. And when you talk about it, you get almost the same reaction as I got back in the day when I was a vegan. They give you all those stereotypic thoughts about the flat earth. And it's almost the same type of mindset they had back in the day when people were vegan. So
that's why we can't all be the same. We can't all be the same because people are going to label us. So we all have to be different. We have to outsmart them.
Mm-hmm.
What people have to get out of the mindset is that the adverts are only directing you where they want you to go. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, there's something new. got to have the new, you've got to have the new PlayStation, you've got to have the new this. It's all just set up to make money. It's all about money.
Back in the day, you only bought a new thing when something was broken. You bought a new TV because the old one was almost broken. Nowadays, you have to buy a new.
Mend it first, didn't they? They would try and mend it first.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, you could mend things easily here because they were they had bigger motors in them and so. Old TVs you can also repair with a certain if you had a little bit of knowledge. And nowadays, everything is so flat and you can't almost repair it anymore. They made it so that you can't repair it anymore. And also they.
Throwaway society, aren't we? We're a throwaway society that just goes and buys a new one.
Yeah, that's most of my furniture in my home. I think 90% of the furniture in my home is second-hand. I repaired it, and sometimes I paint it in another color that I like. But I got all my furniture almost at the second-hand store because, why should I buy a new one? That is very expensive. If I can repair an old one and put my own taste in that piece of furniture and paint it the way I like and make it just like an old thing of my own.
Like wood furniture is the best.
Yeah.
Sorry, is your wife? Is she into flat Earth, or are you the only one around you, or is Denmark flat?
She's not my wife; it's my girlfriend. But no, definitely not. And there doesn't seem to be many of us around, actually. I've only met one whilst I was at work. I'm trying to convince my boss slowly, and surely he's coming along. Yeah, we're getting there.
Stand with Denmark because it's so flat. You think that they'd get it more than anybody.
Yeah. It was actually.
I think he just needs a little more proofs. Yeah.
A little bit more what?
Proofs. Maybe anytime you see a good meme, screenshot it and then send it to him.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then, send him a good meme.
But I'm always looking at the sunrise in the morning. You know, I'm usually up when the sun's coming up and seeing the moon and all sorts of things. You know.
Yeah, because also Yudit feels that she's probably one of the only Israelis that believes in flat Earth, aren't you, Yudit? Poor Yudit. Yudit's told us that she leaves this on and she goes and maybe sits in something, and when I ask her a question, she has to come running. There you go. She's run back now.
Yeah, probably Shalom. Probably I'm alone here. I don't know if there is many people like me.
It's impossible.
I tell you, because in the Bible we know already. When you said upstairs, it's Shamayim. Sham, there, water. Shamayim. There is water. And land, Mother Earth, Ima Adama. Adama, land, Adam. Dam, blood.
Adam and Eve, right?
No, Adam, human being, and blood.
Adam.
Adama, land. Adam, human being. Dam, blood. So in the Bible,
Tapuach Adama.
That's right.
Tapuach Adama.
Yeah, Tapuach Adama. That's right. But there is a bad apple and good apple. And I'd like you to give me 2 minutes to say something to you. We are the awakening people. Matrix is the best movie it exists for me, because it gives us the correct program one-on-one where we live. And the question is, who is the source? The Neo go to him. Who is the source of all this evil that exists everywhere? It's the Pope. He's the source of everything. Everything. we live is you see, it's the pop. And I have a question to you. We have the solution to go to the desert and live our car, our comfortable life. You remember the guy in the Matrix, he eat the steak and he said, I know it's not real, but I like it. So we have to be honest with ourselves if we like this life, comfortable life in Matrix, because the change is not NASA, it's the source, and the source is the Vatican in Rome. This is the source. This is reality. CERN, all the problem come from this program, the PAP. They make all in the history, they make much war and much blood, and yeah, this is the diablo. So yeah, so the solution is leave our car, leave the house, leave everything, and go to the desert like Moses did. We forgot, come with me. That's all. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Yudit. It feels a bit alone in her country that there's hardly any flat earthers. So that's Denmark too. So that's not good, is it? So what's this big thing that America and the UK just seem to be where most of the flat earthers come from? Is
Where do
don't
they
you
have
think? YouTube in Denmark and places.
What did you say?
Karen, we asked.
Sorry, Yudit. I was just saying, the other countries have YouTube. What you mean to say in America and the UK we're constantly on YouTube?
Well, I think so. It's been, it has to do with what certain keywords you search in, and somebody has to kind of drop the buzzword. It at some point has to be in your vocabulary to look for it. It didn't used to be showing up on my YouTube, and you know.
Well, sorry to interrupt. It has been addressed here. It has actually been on the TV as well, and in the newspapers, on the radio. I've researched it as well and found quite a few in Danish, I might add. And I'm hoping to kind of like have some sort of a connection between people here in Denmark that are flat earthers and, you know, the rest of the flat earth community. You know,
well,
I speak the language.
If it's been in the paper, that just shows that it's, you know, taken foot.
Yeah, it's taken foot, but again, it's laughed off, and it's kind of, it's not had the last word. That's where it's, yeah, in need of help.
Okay, but the person...
Sometimes just hearing the word flat earth is enough for some people. I mean, yeah, really, sure. You know, because, yeah, it really is. Just the word, even making fun of it, that there's some people that believe the earth is flat today. Well, what evidence to... NASA. Well, I remember that moon landing looked fake. Fisheye lens, there you go, that's it, you know, and then they research more. Okay, that's all, you know, sometimes. But I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. I do.
What I'm saying is, if it takes the time for somebody to put it in the paper, they would have had to have had the reason to justify in their minds putting it in the paper. They don't just wake up in the morning and say, like, rocks don't just float. Let's write an article.
Do you think they're gathering evidence? Gathering evidence, maybe? Figure like nosy, being nosy.
Gleaning to see,
you know, a certain. And you know what? And what do? They interview you, and then they don't publish your story. Oh, what? Well, they wanted. Okay.
Time will tell.
Like seeing who responds to it. Like editors.
I told Matt Drudge about it. I said, you know, it's coming. Boston Globe.
Yeah, it's spreading, that's for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And there's no hiding away from it, you know, no matter where you live.
Can't. And when NASA gets addressed, when they finally get addressed, they're going to attack. And they're going to send, you know, they're going to attack. And they're going to attack personally. And they're going to pick the smartest of you or us. And they're going to attack them, ruin your life. You're going to find something you said when you were 10.
Very cheerful.
Really bad.
Very cheerful.
I've got
today.
photos from Vegas. I'm doomed.
They're going to find something. You got to come clean today.
They're on my live journal. Oh wait, that didn't have pictures.
Yeah, oh my God, from 1990, right?
Well, something big
moment of
happened
weakness.
in the 90s to change everything. Like artists has noticed that flat Earth dropped out, information about flat Earth dropped out, everything, like there's other things been mentioned in the late 90s. They did something, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Bigger to carry on this lie, but none of us noticed it.
Was it 2012? Who knows?
Well, maybe
Remember the awakening, the big awakening, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Here's my hypothesis, is that the launch explosion was not planned. I mean, was not real. No one died in that, which is why we got pictures of the people still alive. The landing one was, however, a craft that was coming in and did explode, and which is why, to my knowledge, we don't have pictures of those people, because it was just a craft that was supposed to land, and people were supposed to get out, do their meet and greet, and go away. And that didn't happen.
Covered in shit, yeah.
So I do think that one was a loss, just like the people doing the, you know, before we got past Mach 1, those high-speed test people, those pilots before Chuck Yeager, you know, or yeah, it was him, that, you know, stuff happens. Airplane accidents happen. So
All the time. CIA will, you know, they'll shoot down your plane. They have that technology.
So that, or they needed another reason to continue delaying the whole.
Do you think, Angel, you know your subject is 9/11. You know the truth, and a lot of people know the truth, or a lot of people know that something's wrong. But do you think that's how they managed to do it? Because if you imagine they got away with 9/11, they got away with that. Do you see what I mean? If they can get away with that, they can get away with anything, can't they?
Yeah, New York bombing, Las Vegas shooting, and all this was planned. It was like they I don't know, they had warnings. I mean, people. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like someone knew something was going to happen. A lot of people knew.
Warnings. We got a card deck.
Yeah, the Illuminati card deck. But the thing about the Illuminati card deck, nothing makes sense until it happens. It's like the trippiest thing. It doesn't make any sense until it happens, you know. And then everything's like, wow. I've had those images in my mind since the 1990s because I had a roommate who played magic, and I was introduced to them.
How long have you been a flat earther again, Maria? I can't remember now. Sorry.
The Morgile Art Bell, about a year and a half ago. I don't know.
So a couple of years, but before you knew there was something else wrong, though.
Yeah, I knew, but my whole life I wasted in truther movement, stuff like that, and the internet. I never believed the TV, never paid for cable TV, always. But you know what? I realize now that all those people were, you know, like I used to believe the NASA astronaut that went rogue to talk about aliens. Remember that? And I thought, wow, you know, like that's whistleblowing, you know. I mean, do you understand what an idiot I feel like? And they come year after year, they go on these coast to coast shows, they wear sunglasses, and And I'm telling you, it's like they're competing for their annual big event. You know, like who can make the biggest lie, and I'm going to do this lie, you're going to do that lie, and whoever gets the award. You know what I mean? It's like, so they're all competing for these big lies. They go on these radio shows and they talk about, oh, Pangea is going to be splitting apart this summer, and you know what I mean? Like to scare people, and some are successful, others aren't. You know, others aren't. So it takes genius to be evil. You know.
They say that person's evil and that person's bad. They're the goodies, and then the other ones are the baddies.
Yeah, and
so
double standard.
That's the saddest thing. I mean, it doesn't matter now, but when I realised that we were the baddies, we're
the goodies. We're the angels.
We're not though. We're the baddies.
No, we're the angels, I think.
No,
of humanity? We're the angels of humanity.
The people are just used. But
well,
we've been going now for 2 hours 20 minutes. Artist has got a little bit of information that he's been looking up. Should we listen to what Artist has got to say for a little bit?
Yes.
Because he's been waiting there, because he's got itself all ready and he's been waiting. He's muted.
No, I'm not. Can you give me 2 minutes? I have to get something real quick. I had some, something cooking on the stove, so I have to get it off, otherwise it burns. So if you have 2 minutes, I get it. Okay.
Okay, Artist. Angel, have you been doing anything with pyramids or anything like that?
Only that I need to re-record a bunch of my stuff now that I have my new cool microphone and people can hear me better. And that just takes time and effort.
Oh, I was talking to Marlena, and she was telling me that, is it West Coast? I can't say the word now. Pyramids have been in West Constant. I can't say it now.
West Constantinople?
No, it's state at the end. Anyway, in America, some more been unrevealed again recently.
I did not know of any pyramids here in the US. I know we had mounds, but if we actually have pyramids, that would be actually quite interesting.
Yeah, more pyramids. Actually, she did come up with one thing. What do you think of this then? Because she says she's a carver. She makes items. And she says when she carves something, she carves from the top down. The pyramids were made from the top down and carved out.
I'm honestly, although it leaves without any testing room for huge debate, and I really try not to get into the how was it constructed, but I am of the current belief that it was cast. So I believe it was made from the bottom up and cast each level specifically, which explains how they got the pieces so well together that they can't even put a piece of paper. And I wouldn't be surprised as we learn more and more about the structure that the surface is like a huge QR code. You know what a QR code is, right? Those funny squares. And that there's more to the surface than we give it credit for. And I've also luckily noticed, because more people have given me some higher def photos of the surface, that there are spots where there are actually brick within the structure over here and there, and no one went up there and stole a rock and a brick. It's up there for a reason, and I'm trying to actually understand the reasons behind it. I believe some of it is communication, but that's another avenue I'm going down above and beyond the function. because if I can show the function and show what it's doing, and I can show where the communication correlates to the function, then I wish to show that that structure is like a Rosetta Stone of demonstrating their type of communication, which correlates with Karl Monk's The Code, which was really the only reason I was able to kind of understand or even see the communication, is because I knew what to look for. And, you know, if you can show one does what the communication says, and it's kind of undeniable, then I don't know what it means other than nice men in clean white suits or clean black suits. I don't know, one of the two, going to come visit me. So
trying to build a pyramid, aren't you?
I would love to construct a pyramid, both to show the water
How big?
system, which is.
You mean the
That
actual
depends
size of a proper pyramid? You mean do an actual, or do a mini one?
Believe me, if somebody gave me a budget and physical land, I would have no issue with constructing a larger one. But I don't have location, time, budget, you know, any of that stuff. What I do have is a model I like, the CAD.
People forget developing something always the budget. You need to put something in it. You need to live while you build it, etc., etc. It can't be for free.
I do have a location.
Time for free, but all the material, all the stuff you need there, it's
I do have a location that somebody has donated, that I have on one of my things. I think we looked at it a couple of weeks ago, but it would require me to put time and effort in it. I got to move rocks, lay cement. I mean, it's something I don't have, and it's not near me, so I'd have to. It's like a 3-hour trip to get there and back. It's something I'd have to like dedicate weekends to, and it's not really super feasible. I'd like something closer I can stop off at on my way home.
You know, you need to work to live.
Yeah, or I'd like to have more of a tabletop model, but a tabletop model may not actually give me the results I'm looking for, because some of the pieces I can either simulate and say, you know, oxygen, mix them together, does get water, so I'm just going to pour water up here and not deal with that part. But my goal would be to have a truly functioning, operating as it sits machine. And that is not something that I can really do on a tabletop model. It would be more like a backyard size model.
Yeah, indeed, if you build it on a backyard model, you probably get the results you want.
Yeah, I think you could probably get it if I had something that I can just use like aluminum foil or something around the outside of it to get a better result as far as grabbing static electricity. I think I could actually get a spark out of it. You know, really all it has to show is one spark. And if I can demonstrate that it can move one spark, then a bigger version will move bigger sparks.
Of course. And then it would be nice if you build one in your backyard. And it works. And you could convert it to a tabletop model. And even at the tabletop model, it would work. That would be even more awesome. You could say, well, look, the smaller model gives a little spark, and that's kind of reaction. My big old model on that land gives a bigger reaction, so you can measure the size difference to that one big pyramid and say, well, if it's that big, it should give more of a reaction than the smaller sizes. That also
just in case Maria didn't hear, by the way, because she went off somewhere. Angel, she's gone now. Angel would like to build a pyramid.
She's there. She's hiding off to the side.
Yeah, Angel would like to build a pyramid, Maria. That's what he wants to build.
Yeah.
Pyramid, wouldn't you, Angel?
Actually, I'd love to.
Yeah,
even demonstrate its function. But I don't have the luxury of a backyard, unfortunately. I have I'm the perfect Agenda 21 housing. So
Apartment then.
kind of. It's a what do they call it? It's a mobile home that they're like feet apart from each other. So it's rack 'em and pack 'em stuff. So it's just enough to keep me surviving.
Okay.
You're back again, Maria. Angel would like to build a pyramid.
Well, not
Wow.
just a
Out of copper?
copper
No,
would be
but-
nice, but more expensive, and it would probably give a better result. And the reason I do believe why people used to have copper roofs back prior to us, or even just after us discovering electricity.
Again, some of these things would have been really good to have around, you know, and they've taken them away out of our system and put plastic and other stuff there. I think it's probably to keep us off the scent of realizing what copper and all these other things really mean.
Well,
Right.
For this reason, when it's
Gold.
for a different reason.
if you have electricity to your house, you don't need to have a copper roof. Because if you had a copper roof and then a spike in the ground and you ran a wire from that copper roof down, between the top of that, you know, those two, every now and then you'd get a spark as the static built up on your roof and then discharged to ground. You know, that's the whole reason why you like ground a television antenna and stuff. But if you took that, you could do electroplating with it. You could make colloidal silver with it. There's lots of things you can do if you used a couple alligator clips and put those wires into like an acidic solution.
Well done.
So, which I guess would actually be an acidic solution. But either case, but that was all prior to the knowledge of electricity, which really tells you that people knew about electricity before they called it electricity. They said, look what we can do, but we need to actually put this really expensive copper on a roof. But don't tell anybody about it because, you know, we're probably a mason and we probably have owls up there and a crescent moon and a gargoyle or two.
Baffle me.
So,
So we just need to use plastic.
so
I mean, for instance, we should be using salt water when we're building houses, which they don't do that either. It's just ridiculous.
yeah,
Can
lots of little things like.
Can I say something?
Go on then.
I'm a builder. There's quite a few copper roofs knocking about, believe it or not. So people are still using that material to make roofs with.
But are these people who have recently put up their roofs, or these
Yes,
roofs?
because of the days to come people. The days to come people, because the EMP is supposed to wipe out everything unless you have a copper roof. So I remember maybe 5 years ago, a lot of people started ordering copper roofs. Right?
I'd actually rather get lead paint, but you can't buy it.
I think there's still a lot of that knocking about.
I can't believe we still believe in EMPs, right? Solar flares.
Try to get lead powder and mix it
Gotta
with.
get my copper roof. The
EMPs,
sun's coming.
EMPs do and can exist because I've played with things of that nature when you're working with electronics, where you can make things in the immediate area work with Herf guns and things, you know, key up a CB antenna or a ham radio antenna or just a transmitter of different stuff. So that stuff is a reality. You can mess with electronics and make things trip their circuits.
Indeed.
So really, you're what do you call it? You're a oh, I'm really tired. I'm sorry. I just can't think of the words won't come out of my. You're not just a researcher. You're
Engineer.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of a couple of rabbit holes. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to, you know, reconstruct the real rabbit hole, not the one that's fed to you through the news. And one of the ones that I personally am feel I'm focusing on is, and I'll challenge anybody, I'd love to debate anybody on it, is the Giza pyramid. First and foremost, oh, hold on, I'm getting something wonderful. Thank you.
What's that? What's that? Is that beer?
No, it's, what is it? Brandy something?
No, it's Tennessee White Lightning.
Whatever the man.
Moonshine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moonshine.
I sold moonshine stills for 5 years. Electric ones.
Okay.
Aloe juice.
With some apple juice.
Aloe juice.
Aloe juice. That's what it is. So what?
Have you got a friend with you, Angel? Have you got someone with you?
What? Yeah, was outside playing with. He just came in to give me a drink. But yes.
Hello, you Angel's friend.
Huh? Oh yeah, he just left again. He only came in to give me a drink.
Angel's voice has changed.
But what I was getting at is I focused on the pyramid structure and really what it would do, just focusing on the structure and trying to ignore all the stories and everything that is really the stories, and let the rock structure speak for itself. And I think it's quite amazing. I've learned a lot of stuff in this process. And I think if people take the time to actually look at it, the structure will speak for itself.
Are you all right, Maria?
Uh,
Or just camera fall?
I think her phone fell over or something.
I said you had to hear some
So
stumbling.
we all went with you, Maria. Ooh. Now, so she obviously lobbed herself out.
Yeah.
I think the tomb is the last thing in the world that it is and was, and that's their cover story, just like everything else. And the further I feel that it's their cover story, the more people I think the cover story is working to protect. And the knowledge of electricity is one of them, because I really can't think that people of great knowledge don't know.
Because they need to bury it. They need to bury it.
Yeah, I've learned.
We need to dig it up.
When I looked at who and where the knowledge of electricity has been known through history, just like the whole globe versus flat Earth, where it's been known and where the fights have been through history, I can see that the whole this particular force of the tomb has been really rammed hard, because it shows that there is trickle amounts of electricity, and it kind of opens up new and different rabbit holes about what I think the actual Twin Towers were doing, and how I think right now the two great examples of Lord Kelvin drip generators would be what we love to call the Hoover Dam and the 9/11 memorials. And if they're not Lord Kelvin drip generators, why aren't they? Because they'd be generating free electricity, which I kind of think they are. And they're tying
Next terror attack will be Hoover Dam, right?
They already figured it out, and then they still sell it to us as if they had never figured it out.
And what really got me is when I went on a tour of the Hoover Dam one time, they were only running one generator on that day. But yet California happens to be taking like 60% of the power, and we're hogging so much of it, but they were only running one generator. I'm like, how is this conceivably possible? They should be running like 3 or 4 of these little buggers. And what I really think is that the generator, while yes, that produces power, there are ways to produce more power that make the generator look like you're sitting there winding a winch next to a diesel generator sitting next to you. So, and they really don't want to tell us. It's just a big game.
It's one great big game.
And that's really where I've also been looking into Eric Dollard and what he does and what he focuses on, and how the whole electrical grid system works. And it's just quite amazing how they mess you up at everywhere you can. In my perfect world, I just love to have my own solar cells and be off the grid as far as I can possibly be.
Yeah.
You know, they can sit there and light it.
Most of us want now is to be off the grid.
This is true, which is why we're on worldwide video.
Free internet. I want free internet. That's free high-speed internet, and I'll make my own way.
Yeah. I think was it in one of the Scandinavian countries they had free internet. Maybe
Singapore, I believe.
And also I thought in Norway or something they also had free internet.
Switzerland.
Yeah. In some countries they have free internet. Yeah.
That'd be like giving everyone free telephone or free TV.
And I think Finland are extremely clever when it comes to their educational system, because they more or less choose themselves what they want to do.
Yeah.
And they go for, like, you know, very, very little years, but yet they're extremely intelligent when they're finished with their educations.
Yeah. Is Finland also that country where they have those buses riding on, was it water power cells? I think.
I don't know.
I thought it was in Finland. They, one of the Scandinavian countries, they had buses running on water fuel cells. So,
just talking about Denmark for a minute, most people don't realise that Denmark has sovereignty over Greenland, and that supposedly the Greenlanders and the Faroe Islands, which are above the Shetland Islands, which are also has sovereignty by Denmark, they can all have their education in Denmark, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I also like in from Denmark are those, this is a side topic, those wooden things they make in Denmark. They have some great craftsmanship in Denmark of wood cutting figures.
Yeah.
They're very beautiful.
Yeah, I have actually some right close by me, so I should take some photos and I can show you next time I come on.
Oh, that's cool, because I collected those wooden figures. I have all those also from Norway, those one that looks like Vikings, those smaller one with magnets on them where you can put your bar tools on.
There's a park in Oslo in Norway, and it is all statues. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's fantastic. All these giants and oversized people.
Yeah, that's one big park of only statues. It's very beautiful. I have a book about Denmark that is telling about those statues.
No, but that was in Norway.
Norway. Oh, sorry, Norway. I have a book. I don't know what it's called again, indeed, but it's a very beautiful park. It was made
by park of statues anyway. I can't remember the name.
It was made by, I think, one and the same artist. All those statues, the most of them.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Maybe I can look really quick on Google.
Do that.
It was Norway?
Yeah, Oslo. It's in Oslo. It's called something Park Statues.
Yeah.
Do you want to start talking soon? Because we've been going for nearly 3 hours.
I've got it. Fingerland Sculpture Park.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. In Oslo, Norway. It's very, very beautiful indeed. So if you go to Norway, you have to go to Finland Sculpture Park, because it's one of the most beautiful sculpture parks in the world. Yeah.
And there are many sculptures.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful.
Artist, do you want to go through a bit of what you've researched then?
Oh yeah, for sure. Sorry, I have to clear my throat for a second.
It seems like a fake puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do my presentation now. This is Sacsay Waman. That's an area. It's even that is in Peru. It's near Cusco, the city of Cusco, in Peru. And this is an old map, basically, of the place. And this is another map. You can see all the names, because I won't tell all the names, because if I will pronounce all those names, they're very hard to pronounce. But this is basically the setting. You have here a circle, a stone circle, and here you have all those broken rocks and upside down rocks that look like structures with stairs on them. Here you have the zigzag wall, and here you have something also round shaped, but I will show some pictures about that in a minute. This is from Google Earth. I pasted it together, so it's a bit larger. This is basically that stone circle. Here you have all those broken stones laying around. You can see the cracks in them, all kinds of cracks, if that is popping up in the screen. And here you have stones that they say it's lava, but it almost looks like stones that they squeezed out of a tube, a paste toothpaste tube. It looks almost like that, so it's very interesting. Sorry, Ceres?
Pretty white for lava.
Yeah, I don't believe it's lava. It looks like it's pushed out of something, out of the earth or out of a device or something, but I will get into that. This is basically the measurements. It is again off to the east a bit, just like some other in Teotihuacan and Mexican pyramids. Those pyramids in Mexico are almost even the same way off to the east. It's minus 11% off to the north. And those pyramids in Mexico are almost the same degree off. So that's very interesting. And what is also interesting, you see those zigzag lines and this round shape that looks like a star sign wheel. It has the same spaces in between to actually put in the star signs. This is another map, so you can see that it's just a bit off to the north. This is basically the entrance of the structure. And you can see, again, those big, huge stone. This is very interesting that this is almost shaped in a circle. So here in this piece, there should fit a stone that is shaped in a circle. Most of this structure was destroyed by the Spanish Inquisition. And they excavated a lot of stones from this site and to build their churches and the buildings in Peru. Here you can see the measurement of the door. I will make it a little bit bigger. I couldn't find a bigger picture with somebody standing. You can see the measurements of the door. Why, if you are so advanced in making those stones fit like this, because here you can see it's very small corner that goes up and another corner. So those stones are never the same shape. They're sometimes they fit. This one even goes through the corner. Or going through the corner is still fitting everywhere very tight. So this is very interesting that could be done. I'm very surprised that they are so skilled in building all those stones on top of each other. So that's very amazing. What I also want to show in the next picture, you can see the measurement. So this is about a 6-foot person. So this is could easily fit a person for about 9 foot almost. So why would you build such a big door?
Yeah, maybe they were bigger.
Probably because they were bigger persons. And the next one you can see a lady with his child. Now she only comes to here to the door. So it's built for bigger persons. Very clear. If you build this skillfully, if you had shorter people, you would make the door smaller, of course. So this is made to fit bigger people. So that's one proof that there are also some stories of giants building this site. And again, you see the craftsmanship is amazing. This is almost like a honey hive. Those hexagonal stones, almost that shape. And they fit all together. You can't fit a credit card between those stones. And this stair that they made just to get in. So again, you can see this stair in front is made for the visitors. It doesn't belong there. So it's one big step to get the first step. So it also proves those steps are very big in measurement for a person that is about 6 foot. They are a little bit too big. So they are made for even bigger peoples than 6 foot, probably 7 foot around that size. Here you can see it doesn't belong again, that stairs between them. Here they do some repairs on this structure, because in here again some repairs, because in this next photo you can see it's gone. They got rid of those stones because they don't belong there. Here you can see another door. You can see here clearly that's on an angle, those stones. This one is very big, that's handy. Look, they shaped it on an angle through the corners. Against those knobs, indeed. On those stones where they're used for, I don't know, but they had a purpose. This is all, so it's very high technology how they build those stones. It's very, and here you can see another wall in front of it. There are basically 2 zigzag walls. This is the lower part, and on top you have another wall also in that zigzag shape. And this stone is one of the biggest stones. This is almost some of the biggest stones are around 200 tons, and the smallest are just like brick, but some of those bigger stones are 200 tons. You can see the added things by the Maya civilization, because they built it cement and mortar between the stones. So again, they try to repair this structure. This is another picture nearby. You can see they almost like they tested their tools. Again, on top of this. Here you can see a side view. You can see very clear that zigzag shape. And look at this stone over here. If you compare it to humans, now you can see a measurement. The human comes up to here. So this stone alone probably weighs about 150 tons. And they fit it all together tight.
As a puzzle.
As a puzzle, yeah. Not one stone is the same shape. Not one. Even those walls, you can see this wall looks very different from this wall, They don't. Only the cornerstones they made used bigger ones, but that's handy actually so it stays in place, of course. But you can't fit a credit card between it. Probably not even a human hair. So tight. And you can see on top here the Inca civilization repaired this wall again. And here are some repairs by the Inca civilization. This is all predating.
Do we know that they're really Incan? Do we know that they're Incan, or could they be possibly before Inca?
This is all before Inca, because the Inca didn't have only had stone hammers, and that was it. And they couldn't lift those stones in this place, and they also didn't have the technology to fit those stones. This is Inca built. Those smaller stones. I can go a little bit back. This is Inca. This is Inca built.
They're copying, right?
They
the way they know how.
Sometimes they copy structures to make them look as these kind of structures, but most of the time they repair it. I have another. Here's actually, you see how big the stones are in that wall. I have here. This is a repair by the Incas. Here on the right, and here on top, they try to repair those structures. They always do. Here on top, you can see almost again some repairs by the Inca civilization. Here on top, there's an Inca building. This is it's not very clear to see, but it's made with smaller stones. That's how the Inca built. Again, you can see all repairs by the Inca civilization. This is all predating the Inca civilization. But how many years, we don't know, because there's nothing known. There's no written history at all about these structures. Only, again, this is Inca. those stairs going up. This is clearly Inca. The Incas built in this kind of fashion. Their structures also building, but this is all predating that Inca civilization. You can see those strange marks like this, like holes in them, almost like machinery marks. Sometimes they look like they, here this is some mark that actually could, I don't know, there's some strange marks on those stones. Sometimes they look like machine marks. Like you have a drill bit with a small piece in it, you can make those marks. But they don't have that, they only had stone hammers. That's the only thing, and maybe some soft bronze.
The amount of effort just to make one of those and to make one fit on one side alone is incredible, and they're making them fit on how many sides?
Yeah. Also,
and how many stones are there? You know, I mean, gee, the time it must have.
Layer by layer or so.
I couldn't. It would take me all day to make one of those out of wood. And how easy is it to form wood?
Yeah, of course. And they only had stone hammers. Basically, that were the tools of the Mayas. Those stone hammers. You can see all those repairs between the stones. The Mayas all over all other structures that are built like this. I have talked about in many hangouts on a pyramid. Talk about these ancient structures. They are predating the Inca civilization, and they all have repairs by the Maya civilization, sometimes building on top newer ones of the Mayas that are built with all small stones. And these are just some pictures you can see how big of a stones they used fitting together. And then again here some Mayan repairs of the structure. And this is near that structure. This is a big stone. You can also see under this also those straight stones fitting together, and this is one big rock behind it. This could possibly have been a statue, I don't know, but they made a round thing around it, so it must be important in some sort of way. Near that, these are these stones. They are turned upside down, so this is the bottom, and they are put with the point into the sand. So this is also, you can see there's a llama in front. You can see here those slides I will talk about in a moment. And also this round shape, you can see bigger stones. But this rim, you can clearly see it. This rim has those bigger stones. This rim has those bigger stones. And this is done by the Incas later on. And here this wall stops and it goes further as an Inca wall. So the Incas tried to repair all these kind of structures. Here are some stones still that are used to be on top. You can see here's also some stones lying down that broke off and fell down. Here you have another rock. You can see the measurement. This is again that circle still. You have these strange rocks with all kinds of holes in them and very straight. This almost looks like a sofa, but also a hole there could be fitting another structure in there. There are a lot of holes that you could fit like Lego almost. You could put other blocks in it. This is what I talked about, like the toothpaste, almost like looks like toothpaste from out of a toothpaste. They say that it's lava, but I think it almost looks like it was pushed out of the earth. You can also use it as a slide. And it's very strange stone thing over there.
Yeah, stone slide.
Yeah, it looks like you can use it as a stone slide because it's very smooth. You can see it even in the here. You can see it's almost like it's polished. This one, so smooth it is, and it's. They also cut in that same kind of slide. They cut these very straight. Almost looks like it almost looks like some sort of a wheel from a big clock or a device when you can put gears in or something. Almost looks like very strange. It's all very level. Almost most of them are 100% level, straight corners. Here again, you can see those rocks that look like pushed out toothpaste, and they built near it and around it, just very tight to that those rocks. You can see how shiny it is, so it almost looks like it's polished, very smooth. And near that slides, I call them slides, are those rocks that are lying all over the place. You can here see some marking again, but also these ones, you can clearly see they are broken off and put with the point upside down. So this was blasted off, probably from this area. Near this area, you can see all kinds of rocks lying around. And it was
that area is actually missing the top. It's just eaten away.
Indeed, it almost looks like this area is. You have also, it could be. It was blasted off by some cataclysm, probably. You can see how for craftsmanship this.
Or sound, right? Could be sound.
Or sound, yeah.
I've been to Machu Picchu.
Oh,
I've been there.
In Machu Picchu, you can also see that the distinguish between those very big blocks of stone and those small Mayan buildings with stones that are basically
but
built.
Let me tell you, I hiked 7 days through desert and tropics, and the entire way, the stones, the stairway was in perfect condition. It's like perfect stone conditions the entire 7 days, and you're going around cliffs, and it's like a perfect stones everywhere you go, and you go from ruins to ruins to ruins.
Yeah, even the Mayas were very skilled in building things. Only there's the civilization they rebuilt basically. What is interesting here, you can see on the ground. If I zoom in, you can see this almost looks like a star sign wheel.
Oh yeah, I never seen it like that. Wow.
Yeah,
wow, and then look at those zigzags. That's like the road.
2 roads. What is interesting, if you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, doorway, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably more because here it stops because there's a road. But probably there were 12 zigzag lines here. Here, those 2 doorways, and then 12 again going there. And these are
for 12 months of the year, right?
Yeah, 12 months of the year.
Or moons, the 12 moons or something?
Like this. This is also 12. The star signs.
12 apostles, 12 apostles.
And also, if you are a bit, what star sign resembles these zigzag shapes?
Pisces, the fish, and there.
Aquarius.
Aquarius, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, you can see it here. The star sign Aquarius. There's also those, exactly those shape of that wall. It also resembles the Aquarius sign. So this is also interesting because the Mayas of the Incas, worked a lot with waterways and water canals and water irrigation to their lands. And here you have also you see that I showed before that star sign basically. You can see here comes a waterway. It goes all the way here. And here goes another one. And here goes another one. And if you, here's another picture, you can see more clear. Another waterway going all the way here.
Everybody gets water in their house.
Yeah.
In these villages, they all get water in their house running, and then you stop up your sink when you need a bath or something, and then you let it flow. But you get a lot of the flow from your other people's flow too.
Yeah, and a lot of structures with water. The previous hangout on Sunday, I talked about even that one that looked like a water purification center. Very clearly. And here you can see that this is from a video. Those waterways very skillfully built. Clearly for some kind of, probably water. Here goes 1, 2, 3, more. You can clearly see those water going down, of course. Yeah, another one. All around that star sign wheel. You can see that those waterways. You see another picture from above that's a bit more clear. It's for me, it looks very much like an star sign wheel, an Aquarius sign above it, and it's all with water. So
Stonehenge kind of, it's like Stonehenge-y kind of, a pyramid-y like.
Well, Stonehenge isn't real. It's built. It is rebuilt almost 4 times in concrete. So sorry to say that, but Stonehenge is.
You might not realise that artists found some photographs.
Here again, you can see those Mayan repairs.
That's not cool. They've added the Stonehenge isn't real.
No. Look it up. If you look up Stonehenge and repairs, or from the 1960s, 1920s, 1800s, they repaired it so many times. It is not even the same as it probably should. It was owned by private land, and the oldest things about Stonehenge are only 1720 or something, and older things aren't written about it, so it's all fake. Now you can see all the repairs by the Mayas with those smaller stones I often talk about here again. Here those broken off stones again. This looks a lot like that thing that I was talking about, that I had that big rock over here. And here it's missing. You can see, you still see the thing was here, but it's gone. But the Spanish Inquisition got a lot of these stones from this site to build their own structure, so a lot of stones are gone. Yeah, the Spanish destroyed most of the site when they.
When I was in Peru, I went to a Spanish Inquisition museum. I touched all the torture devices. I did.
Yeah. Again, here you can see another stone with all those. It almost looks like they are here trying to test their tools. Yeah, that is some sort of rock. They thought, well, let's test our tools. Here you have all those cutouts. Here some stairs, but all different shapes.
It's almost like a mold.
Where they cut the step off.
Again, this is that structure I was talking about. That also has a plateau under it, just like this one. Yeah, this one. Only here the plateau is gone and the rock is gone. Maybe this is the rock under the grass, because it looks like something is under there. It could be something like this.
That's a panorama, beautiful panorama you had there. Go back to. That was beautiful. That's a hard shot. That's like 6 shots, right? Yeah.
And I was laugh at this. They actually put roofs over it. Yeah, it's some kind of build. This is stupid. Yeah, they say, yeah, it's a housing. It's our houses. Yeah, it's all fakery.
To sell you chocolate.
Yeah, indeed.
Sell you beer. Some Fanta.
And you can also see this is that same rock with the plateau, and around here, another thing that looks like a gearing system. It's round and it's
gears.
Yeah, almost that you could, like a clock, if you have to use those gears from a clock. I've seen it all over the place. Gears that look like, that almost looks like a clockwork.
That could have been a machine of some sort.
Yeah, all over the place.
That could have been a machine of some sort.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
For giants, a machine for giants.
Yeah. And if you go into this rock, I think that is this rock or a rock nearby. You go inside, this is craft shaped inside. Again, some sort of bench you can sit on. It looks like it is not finished yet, but it looks very interesting, because these benches you have all over the world, the same shape in Greece, in Spain, in Portugal. You have all these kind of structures that look the same, like this one. And you also have those zigzag lines on top of that structure. That is this structure. On top of there, you have these lines. And you have this nearby that structure that it looks very clear. Something should be fitting on here.
Yeah, mold.
Yeah.
Opposing parts.
Yeah. And then you have also here one. Very clear. That looks like there should be something on top of here. And this is the fitting fitting knobs for fitting something else on there. Here again, one.
It would be interesting to see which way they orientate.
Most of the structure are just a bit off to the east.
Yeah, I mean, in relation to these, yeah, what we think might be some kind of machinery or device.
Yeah, here again, some great craftsmanship. Actually drilled through the stones. Yeah, look how skillfully it is done. It is almost all. If you put a level against this, it's all straight. It's all straight, all level. Very. And here again, you see some Maya, Inca repairs again on this structure again here. Maybe so there was a statue again here. You can see those blocks. This is how they, the Spanish Inquisition did it. They lined up all these blocks and then moved them to their building sites. And they are still lying here today. Hey, look, they extracted those stones to build their structures in the city here below. And you can see also they did take stones from there and put it in use of there, or this structure was already there and they built this house on top of it, because this is the same kind of structure we saw before, only this wall, this whole wall, with all those strange stones, a little bit smaller, and they built an housing on top of it. So that's in the city, you can even see those walls, and they converted it into homes. Because they are blocked off. These are not windows. This is all these holes you see in those structures in Peru. You can't see through those windows. They are all blocked off. So they weren't used as windows, but for something else. And most of the people are investigating it. If you sing a flat A in this kind of walls, the whole walls start to resonate for a couple of minutes. So this is all sound frequency and water frequency, probably, because it's all, you can see those water channels I showed before, very quick going back. Water channels, and it's all done, all these stones are also often magnetic, and if you put a compass on those stones, the needle goes in all directions except the actually north it has to go to, so these stones are almost all magnetic stones. So this related to water and magnets, all those structures. That's what makes it very interesting.
And electromagnetic process, because you make magnets also through electricity, by how for high voltages, so it's to actually make it coherent in one direction. And that's what they probably do with these stones as well.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. And also what is interesting, very near this site is this mountain. You can see this is a normal layers of a mountain. You can see all those lines. And here it's pushed up. And you have this all over the place in Peru. Those mountains, sometimes they look like they are pushed to the side by an enormous force, or just pushed up by an enormous force. So maybe those devices like this caused that certain kind of cataclysm. Maybe something short circuit and went wrong and made the whole all those blocks broken and all over the place. Maybe that's what happened. That it malfunctioned and it short circuits basically. Maybe that's why you can see all those rocks all over the place often, like this one upside down.
Yeah.
Maybe there was it short circuit the whole structure with the magnetism and everything. That's a possibility.
Why is it upside down?
It's blown away. It's
blown away.
We did this stuff with Chris Monk when these electrical arkings happened and lots of things got obliterated, which is why we might have gone and lived under the ground, which Miss Maria's seen. But at the same time, it was kinetic energy. And you know what happens in tornadoes? Lorries get picked up.
Oh, buses. Oh, trucks.
but certain things will just get picked up and put down. So what he was wondering was, is this what happened with some of this stuff? Picked up and put down somewhere else in this kinetic energy from these arkings.
Yeah, okay, but that's a thought for sure. But if it wasn't, if they are like that, then they're obviously cut out upside down.
Now all these stairs, if you see similar stairs like this in Peru, they never cut upside down. And you can see also they broke off on the top. You can see those breaking shapes. So one time this was this is broken off and thrown in the air.
Okay.
Imagine an arcing what is 600 kilometers wide. Just one bang, and a few hundred kilometers further away, the other part of the arcing, just in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have we seen any other evidences of this?
On that scale, and that's what happened in the past. That's what where the Electric Universe series is actually pointing to what and what they want.
I read that book.
The first one of them, An Alien Sky, I think.
Yeah.
I
I have some pictures of actually those positive and negative stripe, if it works. And on the Earth, you can click if it works. I hope my internet helps. Is working. Yeah, it works. Okay. You can point out some negative and positive strike. This is a positive strike that is mostly a hill, and a negative strike is often a salt lake. And between those strikes, you can see the mountains are cut off. These are normal mountains, all pointy, and these one are almost level. Those between those positive and negative Earth strikes, and most of the time the mountains are iron rich. And this is often a lot of salt in it. And you can see between those points, the mountains are just cut off like you saw off a tree. And here you have another strike here. Around here, you have all those spherical balls in Kazakhstan. You have all those balls lying around that are spherical. You can see this is almost smeared out, this mountain. Like you put your hand in some piece of clay and just push it aside. Here again, this is in near the site I was talking about just a minute ago. You can see, oh no, sorry, this one is in India. Sorry, this is one is in India, strike. So it's almost, you can see, and this is all iron rich. There's they're even excavating those mountains from the iron they have in them. And this one is in Peru. Near that, you can also, this is also looks like a strike. And here you have a salt lake. And here you have all those mountains bubbling up. Even the mountains here look like a ripple effect.
Wow.
Like here they got a strike with a hole, and it all rippled at the side. And you have all kinds of these are almost like rubble all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And here you have, I showed that one before, from another side. And you have this all over the place, these strike zones, all over the Earth. You have these strike zones that are caused by that positive and negative stripe. I can show this one I made screenshots of, but I think you can show you 50 more easily.
You stopped sharing.
Yeah, I stopped sharing because I was through my pictures.
Yeah.
But I can maybe.
Yes.
I was trying to comprehend that. And I was like, well, maybe the giants were smarter than us. Then I thought, you know how they tell us that we only use a part of our brain? Well, I don't think that's real. I just think that they made that up.
Yes, so do I.
Well, Brian Forrester has a great channel. He actually goes to all these sites.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes very short videos that sometimes are too short. I go a little bit deeper into the findings I think it is. He shows only the structures and don't say I think it's this or that. He's very careful by that. But I go a little bit further and do some piecing together what it actually probably was made for. And he also shows those Parecus skulls that were found in that region. And those skulls are bigger, have a bigger brain volume than the human skulls today. They also have a bigger forehead, but it's not done by binding. Only after they mimic, some tribes in Peru still mimic that binding of the head to make it elongated. But those older Parecus skulls are elongated naturally, and also have very high nerve endings on top of the skull to get to the higher part of the brain. And he shows that also in videos, and there are a lot of videos around that show that. But they actually also had a bigger brain volume, and the skull is bigger. So that also fits to those doors I was showing, that could easily fit almost an 8-foot person into those doorways. And if you measure that skull...
Is there a way to have melted the rock and made like bricks out of them? You know, because if you think about it, we make bricks and it's no big deal to us. But what if like future humans are only a few feet tall and they find our bricks and they're like, whoa, how did they do this? They must have, you know, had slaves. And, you know, but no, it's just we made cement. You know, like we made a mixture and poured it into these little, you know, brick things. And is it possible that maybe they took rock and like melted it?
Of course, it's a possibility that they did that, and yeah.
And it's just so long ago that it turned into rock, maybe?
I
don't know. I'm just guessing.
I can show you some picture if it works. Yes, it works. I'm happy. Yay. Sometimes it doesn't work when I just want to show something.
Yeah, no.
This is another. You can see clearly soul marks.
Clearly.
This is also in Peru. This is also in Peru. Very smooth. Again, those almost looks like a bench you can sit on. You can here clearly see those bigger stones and smaller. Here they try to mimic it with smaller stones, the Inca civilization.
Because they're smaller people.
They were smaller people. And this, you look at these
smaller stones. And
they still don't know. This is all very skillful. But what I also want to show in this picture, this is a bigger picture. Look at this side. These are smaller stones. These are bigger stones. And they are.
And that's to farm, right? That's to farm their corn, right? They put corn there, and that's what's because that way it didn't landslide.
Yeah.
To make the land not.
Yeah, this is Inca built, but this is predating the Inca civilization because they repaired it and they built something that looks like the one on the left, because the left is older and the right is newer. This is all Inca.
I'll take a screenshot here. Take a screenshot.
This is Inca buildings. Okay, these are Inca buildings, very clear. And this one side is pre-Inca.
Oh, that makes sense. You know, my dad would really appreciate that. He's an anthropologist before he became a lawyer, but he would really appreciate that because he assumed, he was told and taught that the Incas built all of it.
No, I think that's 100% wrong. Because look at these stones, are very big, and you have to get them all the way.
Yeah, but yeah, totally.
Up this mountain. Over here.
I see your point.
And they got to walk that trail I walked.
To get there, I mean, besides the tourists, but to get there the way I did in the ancient time, you would have to go down these little steps for just days, you know, and then that Machu Picchu is on top of like a mountain that you got to climb.
Also,
I mean, it's not easy to get there. It's not easy to get there.
No, these stairs were put here by the Incas because they are smaller stones. So how did the previous people came up there? Because they didn't have stairs. They have to go up here.
Interesting. They were giants.
If they were giants, they could easily walk up here and just up.
They just climbed.
In here, you can see an Inca repair.
Those are the steps for the giants.
Yeah, do you know?
And again, you can
giant steps.
Again, see
all those people have stood on one step.
Again, you can see the repairs. This is predating the Inca civilization. This is Inca again. Here, they repaired the whole section. They made the same. I can send you the picture if you want to. I can send it to Karen and she will send it to you.
You know,
Did you get the high definition picture? And that's far better as a screenshot. I will send these pictures to Karen and she can send them to you because I have more pictures. And again,
I'll send them on to Marie.
Look, this is again those zigzag shapes. This is round, so those stones are rounded in this corner. This is on top. Look how big those stones. These are really big stones. They are probably each 200 tons. You have to get them all the way up here. No, they weren't. You can't lift those stones up here. You have to have some kind of high technology. And look at
unless
those.
Unless you were like 12 feet tall, right?
No, even then it's very hard. Look how big.
Even then?
These are those older stones. Even then, yeah.
But could that have been like cement, like poured in a mold, and then they just hardened it and baked it in the sun, and now it's a rock?
In a second, I have some pictures about that. Again, this wall, if you sing into it with a flat E, the whole wall starts to resonate for a couple of minutes.
There must be a reason why they made intricate connections. And with you talking about music, obviously the vibrations would rip it apart. So it must be built so that the resonance will not affect it.
That's why they have those odd shapes, probably.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like
it has to be.
And also, this is another wall. This is all in Peru and Bolivia, most of it. And you can also see this is predating the Inca civilization, and this is Inca. This whole structure, this goes a long way, because they made also a water canal in it to water certain parts of the area. But this is all. You can see very clear, this is predating the Inca civilization, very big rocks, also very tight together, and this is later added by the Inca civilization. It's not even only Peru, this is in Baalbek, Italy. Look how big of a stone this is, and this is the only one that is very smooth. All those other stones are Roman and much smaller. And the Romans could, and again you have those holes in them. Often they say, yeah, there's holes also for a roof support. Well, this is a very low roof support there. So they were used for something else. And you have another angle on it. This is the same rock. And here you have another rock with those holes in them. And here you have another rock with those holes. You have two. And this rock probably weighs, I think it goes all the way to here, this rock, one piece. It weighs about 300 tons. Now, the Romans couldn't lift that in place. It's impossible. You can see on top, built with smaller stones again, also here. So even on Roman structures, you can see those are Roman pillars. They're built on top of an older foundation that was already there. And you can see this doorway, it's now blocked off to make it smaller, but if it's again for the same size of a person, around 8 foot, can easily walk through there. And also here you can see those stones with the strange grooves in them. You can see there was an earthquake. This is in Machu Picchu, by the way. And this is also predating the Inca civilization. You have bigger rocks over here. On the line, those are the bigger rocks than smaller rocks. On top, very fitting together, very tight. Here, this is Inca here on the right. This is still predating the Inca, and probably this is predating the Inca, and this is even before the civilization that was predating the Inca. Here you can see Inca repairs on the right, Inca repairs on the. These are Inca structures. There's a whole building with small stones. They're all over the place. Those Inca buildings with small stones, and yeah, indeed, and this one has windows. Most of the time they are blocked off, but this one is open. This is one of the rarer ones that actually have open holes in them. And this one I showed already. And this is in Egypt. This is the Osiris temple in Egypt. And again, you see Egypt building with smaller stones, and these are bigger stones. They are also fitted together with knobs, like I showed before. Here's a knob. I can blow it up a little bit, you can see it clearer. Here's a knob. Here's a knob. So just like in Peru, they have knobs to fit another stone on top of it. Very straight stones, almost 100% level, all of them. Here again, this wall also, see, not one stone is the same. Here again, a strange corner, just like in Peru. Also knobs on them, you can just like in Peru, only this is in Egypt. And they built on top of it again with smaller stones, even in Egypt. This is in Spain, again, bigger stones, smaller stones on top by the Romans. And this is all predating the Roman civilization. So it's all over the place. This is in Bolivia, bigger stones. And they added smaller stones between them. So these bigger stones were already in place. And also this is in Spain. And it looks a lot like that one in Bolivia. Look how it looks almost the same with big stones, smaller stones between them. So even the structures all over the world look the same. Look, these are the bigger stones. You have even with the stairs, this is in Peru, near that site I told before, with all those, it almost looked like it was broken off and thrown a couple of meters. And this one is in Spain. So this is in Peru, this is in Spain. Almost the same structure it looks like. Only thousands of kilometers from each other. Look, this one on the left is in Peru and this is in Spain. Looks very much the same. Big stairs, smaller stairs, smaller stairs, big stairs, smaller stairs. Probably there were bigger stairs here, but that piece is broken off. All over the place. This is in near Turkey. Also those holes in them, very big block of stone. It's basically a sunken city. Because most of the part is in the water. Also this cuts out just like in Peru. Only this is in Turkey near Greece. You can see this is in Peru. And if you look at this one in Turkey, it looks very much the same. This is in Athens, also those cutouts and those things in the wall. This almost looks like musical notes. I highlighted with red. And I even put it in a music program. And it's a nice song. And this is in also in Greece. Also those almost looks like they tested their tools.
Can I just say, artists, we've been going for artists. We've been going for 3.5 hours now, but yeah. I just wondered if anybody on the panel had anything to say about all the pictures that artists has been showing. Maria, or Astral, or Patricia, or
even an Angel. These are mysteries.
I think I've seen a little bit of this before when you've shown it, but for some reason I seem to think that there's something to do with music, you know.
Well, I put it there's sometimes even those holes in the wall, like I showed a couple of pictures ago. They almost look like a musical thing, like here.
Artist, wow. Do you think that show that
wow. Wow.
We've been going for 3.5 hours, so you've been showing loads of stuff now, so maybe in a minute stop and have a little bit of a talk and then we finish, because it's
I showed most of 12. It now. I can digest it, and if you watch some...
The musical notes was my favorite thing.
Yeah, that was in
so what does it sound like? Do you know what it sounds like?
Yeah, I played it. It's very strange.
Okay, play it. Okay, play it.
How many hertz is it playing at?
I don't have. I can't play it at the moment because otherwise I have to dislocate my headphones and everything.
I study the Sri Yantra. I meditate on it, and that's supposed to be something to do with sound. And they say, you know, the every thing is in there, like they say the Giza pyramids, like the tunnels are all the same dimensions as that, and also the pi, etc. You know, and it's square. It has a square, and like when you make a certain sound, it makes that square. It makes, you know, all those are sounds. They're like sounds, actual sounds. Like, so this would be like a sound.
Yeah, it is indeed. But you asked about pouring the stones, eh?
Excellent.
Yeah, Maria. And this is in Pumapunku in Peru. Yeah. And this looks like pouring devices to me.
It does?
Look, this almost looks like you can put them together and pour stones.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I,
That's
and
nice.
because
And then
if you
over
have
time,
this,
maybe it turns to stone.
yeah, you have this structure nearby, very nearby, and almost looks like they use these kind of shapes.
Yeah, but they were bigger people.
Actually make this structure because the shapes almost fit exactly in those holes. So that's interesting. So I think this is one big pouring station at Pumapunca in Bolivia. It's in Bolivia, just in Bolivia.
Yeah.
But it looks like pouring devices to me. I have poured some liquid metal because did the education of goldsmith. And you also can use a certain type of sands to pour in stone, but also indeed some stones you can easily pour here. Things doing it. It looks like one big pouring station to me. So the question you asked about, did they pour their stones? Well, I think this looks like a pouring station.
Did they leave us any clues like how to build this in their stonework?
No. There's not any written text. They're only basically old ancient stories. And most of them talk about giants and some gods, of course, but that don't give us really a good understanding why the buildings were used for. I'm going through all those buildings and just try to think with an open mind without reading any written text about the structure, because most of them, they say, well, it's a worshipping place. Well, they are tombs. And most of the time, if they say they are tombs, there were not actually any bodies excavated there or something like that. Never. Less like in the pyramids, there were never bodies excavated there. But they still call it a tomb. And that is in Peru just the same. They say, oh, these are tombs. No, they aren't. Very clear. There's something else.
Palaces?
Or house. And they easily put these two on top of each other, put a straw roof on it. Yeah, it's a house. It was a house. I think it's stupid sometimes how they.
Yeah, I know. Machu Picchu doesn't look like, it doesn't make sense unless you see the way it was back then. And most of those places had thatched roofs on them. But no one's going to go to Machu Picchu and put thatched roofs on everything because.
I think it's strange if you build with such a craftsmanship, actually fitting the stones so tight together in different angles and shapes, and you make a simple straw roof. If you can make those stones that tight, you will obviously make also a stone roof, or something from a straight wood with more advanced, or maybe even glass. Maybe they make glass roofs. But straw roofs is just way too simple for me. If you build so much an advanced structure, you probably had other kind of roofing.
You're right, yeah. like a nice, maybe like tiles or something. Exquisite.
Or maybe or maybe just a glass roof or some other kind of.
In gold, maybe that was just the base. Like how when you make a basement, it's just cement. But maybe that was just like the basement, and maybe there was like gold on top of it.
Oh, maybe they used precious metal for the roofing, and all those roofs were just stolen because they were precious metal. It wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
I know, it's amazing. We could go on forever talking about this. It's artist's pet subject. I mean, we are
we could have a 30-hour call here.
Yeah.
On the panel, you've got artists who does masses of research on ancient history. You've got Angel, who's into pyramids big time. You do cartoons and a political. Ceres is doing. Patricia helps me masses. The groups we've got, because we've got a few groups on Facebook. We're getting to know astral, and Yudit's on the beach every day taking millions of pictures of the sun and the moon and the sea, the clouds.
Yeah, everybody's working real hard to get the truth
It's
out
like
there.
flat Earth. What's like flat Earth? It's a mystery.
Well, she,
And you know what? One day it's all going to make sense.
Angel, I have a question for you, right, about the pyramids.
Go for it.
I was in the pyramid, the one in Giza, and there's a tunnel. You're not supposed to go in it, but I went in it, me being me.
Ooh.
And it was
Was
quite
it up near the top?
it was a level horizontal tunnel, and it was a good few meters long anyway. I don't know how many meters exactly. I would say 10, 15 meters. I didn't have a torch, so I was using my lighter.
Up near the top, off where the king's chamber is?
I have not a clue.
No, down at the bottom.
So many years ago. But anyway, when I got in there, there's someone put with graffiti on the wall. I think it was Bellini. Was it called Bellini? I've got a photograph somewhere. I took my camera out and I took photographs in there. It was like a sarcophagus or something. It was a bare room, very bare, very minimal, but quite big. And Bellini in 1882, and it was March the 2nd, I remember.
Wow.
I think it was 1882 or 1881 or 15.
Wow,
I can't remember the
graffiti
exact year,
1800.
forgive me. I can't remember the exact year.
cool.
But anyway, this guy, he was Italian. I've researched him a bit. He was a weightlifter, some kind of a circus strongman. And he basically robbed all of the Egyptian antiquities and gave them to the British. You can check it out. That's what he did.
Wow. So he was there. He robbed it and then he
was
signed it.
very, very good at finding things. Very good. He found now I've really got to think. He found so many things. I mean, he found practically most of the antiquities in Egypt, apparently. He was very good. Down Aswan, he found a lot of stuff.
You might wonder what library he had studied.
Sorry?
You might wonder what library he had studied.
Yeah, it was peculiar. I was reading stuff about him, and he was a circus man, basically. And he went to Egypt, and yeah, he ended up taking a lot of stuff. I mean, these statues, for one, how could they remove them about? But he figured out ways of moving them about on these
Was he a shriner?
On these felucca boats or whatever, you know, getting them towed up the Nile, transported away, hidden from people. Who knows what there is?
Yeah, circus.
But you should look into this, guys. I'll find.
Well, whatever it is, they hide it from us. They don't want us to know. The people that
I'll
run
find
the
this guy's
museum.
name out and I'll put it in the chat here, right? And you can then research.
I'd be more interested in the tunnel.
Yeah, the tunnel. I've got it.
Maybe it was his handwriting that they wanted to save. I don't know, for dark purposes.
Let me see if I can find it.
Anything that's not on the map.
Yeah.
Well, it's not on the tourist map, that's for sure, because that was a diagonal one, you know. We went.
Maybe that's like a secret of the, you know.
So the only
here's Jim Morrison's, you know, autograph. You know, only certain people know.
The only two I can think of would be the niche. Well, three. The niche in the Queen's Chamber, but that's only about 10 feet long, and you know, but it does usually have a gate or a fence in front of it. There's what they like to call the Thieves' Tunnel, which is off to the side when you go out of the Grand Gallery and into the King's Chamber. They don't like to talk about, but has some very unique configuration in there. And then the dead-end pit that's in the subterranean chamber, which is 50-some feet long, and you would have had to crawl through. So,
yeah, I did crawl through. It wasn't very big. You couldn't stand up in it.
It's your favourite place, isn't it, Angel? The Queen's Chamber and that.
Would be.
It was.
Yeah.
It was probably about 80, 90 centimeters.
It's probably many
high.
Queen's Chambers. We don't know, right? It could have been many Queen's Chambers before.
Well, It's no Queen's Chambers. The name is just a reference. The whole structure.
No, it means something completely different.
The transgender queens.
Also, those structures I talked about, most of the stones are excavated almost 50 or 20 miles away. That's also often the case with some structures in Egypt, that the stones actually are excavated sometimes 50 miles away. And then you have to get sometimes over a mountain, 50 miles. And some of those stones weigh about, well, I say from 20 to 400 tons. So I could try to accomplish that.
Crazy.
Impossible,
Maria,
even impossible with the things we have today.
Artist, sent me the picture for you, Maria, and I've sent it to you.
If you want more pictures, if you want more pictures, just ask Karen. I will send them to you.
I think we should start winding down now, guys, because we've been going for 3 3/4 hours.
I read Aleister Crowley went into the tombs to do a ritual, and he said he saw a demon in there or something.
Ooh.
Long time ago I read, and he's kind of related to Flat Earth. He's very bad influence.
Another thought, Abu Simbel, that's also incredible.
Abu
Simbel. It's in the south of Egypt, close to the Aswan Dam, and it's bordering. Yeah, Aswan, isn't it? The country.
I like the Ankh.
Yeah, and there's 2 temples down there that Ramesses. Don't quote me. I think the third, Ramesses II or the third, had built. Was it the third? The very, very big one, anyway. Maybe it was the first. But he had this temple built, and he had then one built for his wife, I think. A lot more inferior, a lot smaller, and just not as good. And then the Nile, because of its flooding, and there it is, yeah. Thank you.
I've got some.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm very fast in finding things because I know what to look for.
Yeah, and what happened was this is actually being moved from its original position, which was a lot further. It was lower down. It used to get flooded every year, or when the Nile flooded, it used to get flooded. So they've actually cut it up and rebuilt it higher up. They chopped it up and rebuilt it. So
but a lot of sites.
Oh yeah, that's right. They chopped it up and rebuilt it.
Yeah, also there's also another site on the island. They also placed it on the other island because it was flooded all the time. So they did it also with another structure.
And another thing that they didn't quite get correct was when he built this, the sun would come up on his birthday or something, whatever, and it would shine through all the way through to the, so they could have a nice ceremony and stuff and sing whatever it was they sang. But when they've moved it, now the day is wrong. They've messed it up by a day or something.
Yeah. Now it's just a tourist site.
Yeah, totally. But it's impressive, very impressive. One of the best things I've ever seen anyway. And the size is, it's big.
You can see also the doorway, just like I told before, in Peru, this doorway is almost the same height. All those doorways are often for larger people. And also, if you look at this structure, you can see that those smaller people over here, and they're always on these bigger structures. You can see just beside his leg a smaller person, and most of them almost every time are just under knee high. almost all the bigger structures in Egypt who have smaller portions beside it almost have the same measurements just under the knee, all of them. So
yeah, do you see the ones between the legs? Those are us.
Probably. Yeah, maybe those bigger ones are just knee high almost, or maybe just an. This is probably a big person. We are small. This is an intermingling between the species, maybe. Just a between size. You never know.
Yeah, this is something I can't understand how it's been built. So big.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It can't. I mean,
especially as they travels and things like that.
Yeah, not only that, but
we know that's not true. That's a lie.
Take for example the hieroglyphs in the Karnak temple or down in Luxor. You know, there are so many hieroglyphs, and they're not just etched in a little bit or just sandblasted a little bit. They're like, some of them are kind of 2 centimeters, an inch thick, deep. You know, and there's millions of them. How much time has it taken them, or how did they do it? They're all painted as well. There's so many that are still painted.
That's what we're going to figure out. I think only the flat earthers can figure it out. I don't think you can, with the filter of global earth, you can't see through this. Because even, like, how do we even know who these people were? I mean, you know, we passed down history from the same people who tell us the earth is a ball. You know, you really question everything and, you know, see for yourself. Yeah, I think only flat earthers are going to figure this one out.
Yeah, there you go.
I found it.
So many of them. That's what I get over, the amount of them.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Somebody's going.
Talk to you.
Who's going?
Maria, are you going?
Karen said we're going to wrap up.
Oh yeah, but say goodbye on the after hangout.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talk to each other and say goodbye on the after hangout, the panel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Artist, this is your last thing tonight, artist.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go on for days. So this is the last thing. Otherwise,
and like even things like we were taught about Egyptians, we have to question everything because like you just got to question everything. Like what exactly, you know? I mean, you got to learn for yourself, and you got to go over the old, but yet you got to go over the new because every civilization builds upon the last, but they make it their own, like a little different. When you know the whole thing can be redone.
Indeed, because the oldest Egyptian statues, the oldest Egyptian structure are the most advanced and often made of the harder stone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also in Peru, and it's also in Egypt. You can clearly see they try to mimic a civilization that is predating them by probably thousands of years. And they try to rebuild a past civilization that was before the Egyptians, before the Incas, before the Mayas. And there's a lot of evidence all over the earth. You can see that those stones I also showed in Egypt that are much lower than the pyramids. So much lower in the sand. So, or they dig a hole and build that structure in, or that structure was already there, and the pyramids were built on a later stadium. It's also a possibility. But it has a lot of things to it that you can clearly see that how older the structure is, how more advanced it is built. So the building with the advanced ancient technology was there, only the knowledge is slowly forgotten. Or there was a cataclysm in between, and therefore it was forgotten.
Thank you for that, artist. We could go on forever looking at all your pictures and all your research.
Yeah, we'll be. If I go through all my pictures, we have a week hangout probably.
Good.
A week.
Anyway, I'd like to say thank you to everybody on the panel today. It's been a really great hangout today. Thank you very much, artists, for all your hard work. Thank you very much, Angel. Thank you very much, Maria, Ceres, Patricia, Astral, Yudit. Thanks very much for coming on, and we're back tomorrow.
Yeah, and thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Karen, for having this hangout.
Oh, no, thank you a lot for being here. Patricia, before we go, do you want to explain a little bit about Video Club tomorrow?
No, not really. Oh, go on. If I must.
Go on.
What video?
Oh, I don't know what to say. It's just I just thought it was a nice video.
Could you just give the name of the video that's going to be played tomorrow? It's on Video Club, but obviously we play it in Sun and Moon and have a live hangout about it. Can you just explain the name of the video?
Yeah, it's called Flat Earth. A video you've never seen before. Now airships, and it was in the 1900s, and it just shows you airships going across the country, different countries and stuff. And you know, back then I don't think there was such things as the GoPro lenses and stuff. So it, you know, you can see it's all flat. And I just thought it was interesting.
Yes, Patricia chose it because she really liked it, because they were filming and everything was flat, but before technology like we've got. But yeah, it's all black and white, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all black and white, and the music's good as well. It like takes you on a journey, because I don't think many people have seen like raw sort of footage of the Earth, and it's I've always wanted to go in a hot air balloon, and I just saw that and I thought, oh, I really like that. You know, it's just dream away while you're watching it.
Yeah, well, if you're in a hot air balloon, the Earth should be spinning underneath you, and you should be like on the other side of the Earth if you just float, right?
Yeah.
And then how did the airship go the other way with the speed of the spin of the Earth? How could it go so fast the other direction to make up? It would always be going backwards, wouldn't it? Those things didn't go very fast.
Gravity.
Okay.
Surely accelerate something.
We've got Video Club, so Patricia's chosen that video. We will play it on the hangout and then we will talk about it. But anyway, Patricia, I know artists can't, but you did, Patricia, you coming back for a flat Earth hug? Back. There she is. Yudit, is Yudit still? Yudit might have gone to sleep because it's 2 hours ahead for her. We're going to have a flat Earth hug now. So thank you everybody on the panel, and we'll see you tomorrow. And a big flat Earth hug for everybody. Yay!
Yay. We love you all.
And to everybody on the panel, thank you so much for your contributions today. Very much appreciated. All right, so bye.
You're welcome.
Love you all.
Bye-bye.